Hello, 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 good evening, morning, noon or night, and welcome to the stream. Hi guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing well. Have you been? Hi Nova, hi Kaz, hi Q, hi Schmooze, hi Shada, hi Alexi, hi Hayes, hi Twy, hi Xana. How y'all doing? Hi BGM, hi BG Mark, thank you so much for the follow, I appreciate it, and welcome. How are you? I'm doing alright. Honestly, my brain got absolutely hot sauce melted at work today because I had to do mathematics, and oh my god, my model's just like freaking out. Give it a moment. Okay. Oh no, why are you still at work? Oh my god, rest motherfucker, rest. Hi BG, how you been? Did you have fun playing it, Ace? That is the real question. Oh no, Twy, make sure to rest up. Yeah. And thank you for the resub. I appreciate it, Ghosty. Thank you. Hi Zane, how are you? Welcome. Yeah, maths. The devil's alphabet. One could say I went numbers. Oh my god, like it's like, you know, when like when your brain just like gets skeleted by just like stuff like maths, and then like you crash a lot earlier, and like I kid you not, right? I kid you not, probably about like an hour ago, half hour ago, I could literally feel myself crashing. It's like, no, we can't go to bed now. No, you're streaming in half an hour. Wake the fuck up. And it's like, I'm just there like, ugh. It's like, no, be awake. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm getting the Nutella. Just a spoonful of chocolate, like, wake the fuck up. Hi Samurai, how you going? Oh, I love visual novels, it's so fun. Yeah. Yes, yeah. I mean, I suppose in that case, the question would probably be better along the lines of how did it feel playing a visual novel that didn't have surprise penis in it? Eh? Why would you say that, Ghost? Why do you need to wish condolences, huh? Oh my god, Xana, you poor soul. That's so rude. Dearest Twilight, coffee is generally a hot drink. Cold coffee tastes like ass. And I live in Australia. And right now in Australia, it is summer. Also known as hot as balls. I will be completely honest, if I drank a hot cup of coffee, instead of waking up, I would proceed to pass out from heat stroke instead. I can't stand any form of cold coffee. Like, hot coffee I can barely stand, but like cold coffee, ugh. Oh, it's just nasty. So nasty. Oh yes, so the lowdown on the Rizz simulator. So the lowdown on this game so far is in our last stream. Alright, so in our last stream we played the first, I guess, chapter, if that's what you want to call it. So essentially, the first part of it was you're about 8 years old, you're a young snot-nosed little kid doing snot-nosed little kids things. That's where you meet Cove, the love interest, and just generally do snot-nosed little kid things. And Cove was a complete little tsundere, and I was annoying. as little kids tend to be. So I'd like to think I played it accurately. But yeah, so that was the last stream, and in this one today we ended the last stream. Well, technically we ended the last session because the New Year's fireworks were going to happen, but we ended the last stream. We ended the last stream right at the start of the second part, so I haven't actually seen what my Cove looks like, because the way that this game works, which I think is really cool, is your interactions with the love interest actually shape how they look and act over time. So you can you can actively change it yourself if you want to. So like in the intermediate stages, you do have the option to go in and customize him, but you also have the option to run in blind, which is what I'm doing because I think it's more interesting to see how things move organically. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what flavor of Cove our snot-nosed little shenanigans have brought upon us. Ooh, what do we do after the fireworks? After the fireworks, we all went into the Discord and just kind of hung out until the sun rose, and we all promptly died. If you're in that much pain, dear Twi, I'd really recommend taking a Panadol, ibuprofen, some kind of painkiller, and resting, if that's the case. Unfortunately, with all of the affection in the world, thou art going to find the cure for back pain here. As someone with chronic back pain, I haven't found it yet, I'm sorry. I've been trying. Oh, come on, Ace, don't you like my wordisms? Yeah, pretty much, Anna. So it's and you can also choose the outfit and stuff as well. But I'm going in blind, so let's do this. That being said, though, Twi, if you do feel the need to vent, I'd really recommend venting in the venting stick in the Discord. It's literally what it's there for. All right. In that case, who's ready to get into the cringe? Honestly, Zach, you're probably not wrong. we're all just like a bunch of shrimps. But in the literal sense, we are the king prawns that my dad ate on Christmas. Hi Strop, how are you? Welcome. Yeah, Samurai, yeah. My response to that, Samurai, is, hey look, we're playing a game, let's pay attention. Just immediately changes the topic. Hi Ren, how you going? It's lovely to see you. Hi Evie, how are you? I'm good. I'm a little bit sleepy because I just hard dosed myself on the sugary shit to wake the fuck up after a math coma. Hi Pumpkin, thank you so much for the follow, I appreciate it, and welcome. Hell yes. Alrighty. Now, let us truly begin. You spotted Mum first, reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Ah, again. I appreciate it, thank you. Honestly, I'm extra surprised you saw me on Twitter because I'll be honest, I haven't posted shit in a while. I'm really bad at keeping up with my Twitter. Still, pleasure to meet you, and I hope you have fun drinking, yeah? Yes, I do drink Beppis Max, and it's delicious! Morning, Mom. She looked up at your greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face.
Thanks.
Good morning, Arthur. Thank you for coming down. Miles at the door with Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nodded and made your way to the front of the house, just as she said. And just as she said, Ma was there making conversation. For an extra little tidbit for those unaware, we have 2 mums. Oh yeah, this game starts fruity, just the way I like it. What can I say? I've always been a strawberry and bananas man over kale and carrots. Oh my Jesus fucking Christ. Highways, am I right? Yeah, legit Ace, legit. Like Bempus Max is like the thing I go to whenever on the rare occasions I have a normal Pepsi. Like, I just feel myself like just die. It's just traffic noises in the background. You nodded and made your way to the front of the house. Just as she said, Ma was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder. Oh, look who finally made it. Morning, sleepyhead. Ma reached forward and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so at your height you were absolutely tiny in her eyes. Alright, we can let her do it. We can happily let her do it as a distinction. We can dodge. We can push her hand back. Or we can push her hand and be like, Mom! Oh no, she's hot! Oh. How accurate to my teenage self do I want to be? Oh, we won't be too accurate because then we'd be all ginger, no bitches. That's a lie, actually, but still, it's kind of funny to imagine. Anyway, I'm gonna push her hand back and laugh because that's what big kids do. We're too old and too cool for head pats, but we'll laugh to kind of be like, oh, don't worry, I'm aware that this is an in-joke between us very old and mature adults, even though this character's probably got 13 or something. You pushed her hand back and laughed. Mark could be so ridiculous, you thought, but that was okay. Ah, you're the last one down today, you know that? Life isn't a race. You know what? Oh, no. Let's go the little beetroot. That's fun. Let's stay in character. See you, Twi. Have fun doing what you're doing. I was going to stay in longer, so you're welcome. Yes, thank you for gracing us all with your presence this fine day. With a small laugh, Ma stepped aside. Fuck you! Cove was just as you remembered. Exactly how you came to know him to be. Oh, we got the fluffy hair one! Oh, he's cute! I want to pinch his cheeks and call him a tsundere. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as the longer strands of his hair idly drifted with the breeze. His features were pinched in embarrassment and he shifted from one foot to another. He was holding what must be the much talked about gift. At first glance, you figured it must be a bouquet of flowers. Then you gave it a real look. No, instead it was carefully cut fruit. It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh at this showing. You couldn't imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. Ah, he's so cute! Just saying, this Cove here makes me want to affectionately bully him. He just like, I get cute aggression. I just want to give him head nuzzles and pinch his cheeks and generally be a pest. I bully no one, thank you very much. Instead, I'm usually the victim of the bullying. That kind of arrangement was built for presentation, likely to impress to whoever was inevitably going to receive it. It seemed no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Cove would always be roped into participating. Cove smiled slightly at the sight of you. The sting of this goofy errand he was clearly embarrassed to be on eased. Aww! He's like Casper, but like less bitchy. Hey, Arthur. You earnestly grinned back. It wasn't weird at all, like it used to be when you were kids. As time passed, the two of you started to enjoy each other's company. Now you actually considered him a good friend, and not someone you were forced to be around with by your families. Hey, it's really nice to see you. Yeah, you too. And you were certain he meant that agreement. Cough, cough, Lawrence, cough, cough, cough. To be fair, Casper is amazing, isn't he? It was already shaping up to be another long summer with plenty of time for the two of you to have fun together. His awkwardness over the task started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. yeah, Casper was such a little bitch he nuked my fucking PC. Asshole! And with that, the gift was accepted. I hope you and your family like this. It's a pretty good gift. I think so anyway. He smiled earnestly. Ah, he's cute. Though I notice he's got half of his tars out. Button your shirt up, young man. Dad spent a lot of time picking out the best size and design. There were so many options to choose from. Have fun drawings in. Huh. You're too cute sometimes. Arthur. Just thank my dad for all this, okay? Yeah, sure thing. Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you'd ever had. Though, after 5 years, you were used to his antics, and you'd since made up your mind on what your opinion was. You didn't like him? Just like all of that talk of like, he was so nice and neighborly, he was such a good weird neighbor, and all of that time after 5 years, that has made you decide, brother, Oh my god, the bottom one. He was great. And kinda handsome to boot. Oh, that bottom one doesn't want a romance, Cove. That bottom one's going for a hidden route. And be like, hey Cove, step aside. Hello, Cove's dad. Yeah. Is your dad single? Brother, he was sort of funny. Sometimes that could be a good thing, and other times it was a bad thing. Your thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. There you are! You shared a confused look with Cove. As one, both of you stepped through the open door into the neighborhood street. It didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. Oh, how Dilfy is Cove's dad. He's If a Floridian surfer is your idea of a DILF, Cove's dad is gonna take you to the moon. But let's just say he is 100% exactly the kind of person you think of when you think of someone who would name their child Cove. Yeah, genetics kind of fucked him up himself while attempting to shave. Yeah, and he just committed to the bit. It didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. You were confused at the sight of him. You hadn't expected to see Derek today, though you never really knew when he'd appear. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin.
Hey.
Hey, my guys! I was just at your house, Cove, but no one was there. Should have figured you'd be at either's place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you always just there, huh? Aw, thank you for the resub, Shara. You enjoying the big 2-0? Just think, Shara. One more month and you'll be an uncanny valley adult. Derek laughed at his own joke. He either didn't notice that it was embarrassed Cove, or the embarrassment was what he was actually laughing at. Oh, Cove's gone beet red. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more when his eyes widened and he gasped. What's that? You followed his gaze, unsure. Then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. This? That's kind of like a bouquet of flowers, but made out of fruit.
Nice.
Nice! Can I have some? I haven't even tried any yet. Derek pouted at your words, not hiding his disappointment. Ah. Then he nodded his head as if to clear it. Have they not been 3 long, wonderful years? Eh? You've been here for almost as long as Asta's been alive. I know, right? No, he's the only one who gets special treatment. Anyway, that's right. I came here because I needed to say something big. He paused, probably for effect. Oh no, Season! Have fun working on your video project. May you kick its ass. Affectionately. And like, hey, I mean, like, we're going to be doing a Discord watch-a-thon on Saturday, if you're bored. There's some other kid here in Sunset Bird. Cove was as surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved here since Cove did, 5 years ago. Were they with their family? Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh, the new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him?
Nope.
Nope, I came to report the sighting right away. The kid had green hair, glasses, was pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope we didn't leave. You blinked. Slowly, you looked over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove. When you first got here, anyway. Kinda does, doesn't it? That's weird. He sounded almost fond, a small smile playing on his lips. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can see that really well now that you say so. But what'd you say? Let's go find Cove's look-alike. We should all meet him. I'll do it. Sure, I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned. Then he pointed down the street the way he came. Last I saw him, the mystery visit was going in that direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The 3 of you were off, with Derek leading the way. Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio, you made your way down to the shore to the old playground. You walked the familiar path in a comfortable silence. When you were almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, kicking up the sand as he paced. It was true, he certainly seemed upset, but you didn't think he was sad like you'd originally pictured. No, with his erratic movements and scrunched up expression, he came off angry. You were curious about him, and what he was so mad about. Derek must have felt the same as you. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy.
Hey guy, over here.
He looks like a nerd. I'm sorry. Damn, his parents cheaped out on the haircut. The kid whipped around, an impressive scowl carving deeper onto his face. His eyes were tiled, but a strong, hostile energy still radiated from him. Boca looking at goblin-ass kid. Have fun looking around, rest well, and it's always lovely to see you.
What? What is it? What do you want?
The sharp tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on his feet. What's your name?
Jeremy. Was that it?
No, I'm Derek. That's Either and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi. There aren't a lot of kids our age in the neighborhood. Yeah, so, you know, it's cool to see someone else here. Strangely, Jeremy grew furious by your response. If steam could erupt from a person's ear, it would have happened then.
They did bring me somewhere stupid. Of course, I knew it.
What?
My parents. My parents. They're the ones who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. Can you not figure that out on your own? Right. Well, my dad brings me to Sunset Bird too, when he has to come for work and all that stuff. It's not bad.
That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation, probably, either.
That's an understatement. This doesn't count as a vacation. It's a waste of time, a chore. My parents' family is nearby and we just had to come see them. Ugh.
If they're your parents' family, doesn't that make them your family too?
I guess. That's a pretty good reason to come by.
Do you want to go somewhere else?
No!
Jeremy crossed his arms with a huff. He turned away.
They should have gone by themselves, since they cared so much and left me home. But I'm not allowed to be by myself. Tch. It makes no sense. They're the ones who don't know how to do anything, and I'm the kid.
Calm down, you don't have to yell so much.
You really don't know anything.
You turned to Cove, lowering your voice. The two of you aren't that similar after all. Jeremy must have had good hearing though, because he caught the private exchange and scoffed.
Stupid. Of course we're not similar.
My eyebrows aren't stupid, punt the goblin child. To the waves with you. Who peed in your cereal this morning? Oh, thank you for giving highest. I'll go see. Cove's cheeks flushed crimson at the insult. You couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger. Maybe both. Oh, come on. Oh, alright, my favorite roast. Alright, so we've got what? Clueless. His eyebrows are so cool. Yeah. How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? I mean, that's tempting. Unique and special, that'll be an insult. They are kind of silly, that makes me a dick. You know what? No, I'm gonna go roast root. This kid's a shit. How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut?
Yeah, it's embarrassing and awful. But my parents made me. I won't have it when I'm older. I don't know what he's gonna do with those things, except maybe shave them off. He probably should. I bet he'd look less dumb with no eyebrows.
Just attack the child. Fuck you! Punch! Throw it! Oh. You know what? Fuck it. We are 13. We're throwing hands. You lunge towards Jeremy. With your fist balls, you made a quick step forward. You know what? Let's give it one more go, but if he's a shit again, I'll punt him. But you only wanted to spook him. He'd made it clear that words wouldn't work, leaving you to resort to action, even if it was just for show. Derek and Cove jumped in to stop you before you reached him. They each grabbed you by the arm. Still, Jeremy instinctively stumbled backwards. He practically fell over.
If that's all you can do about what I'm saying, it's just proving I'm right. You're brainless.
Jeremy continued to defensively fume and throw out insults. The reaction you got was definitely worth any consequences.
Wow, what is wrong with you?
Instead of taking offense, Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasally voice.
Hi, honey, how are you? Well, thank you for the love, I appreciate it, darling.
Wow, what is wrong with you?
Well,
Fuck this kid.
this is dumb.
Jeremy stuck his tongue out and skulked away, throwing more sand everywhere as he went. You watched him go, hunched over, until he became a speck in your vision. Silence reigned in his wake. The three of you tried to protest what just happened.
I can't believe it. What a mean kid.
Derek wasn't kidding, and by the sound of those earlier complaints, the new boy Jeremy was going to be in the area for at least a little while this summer. Derek sighed in dismay, plopping onto the ground. You followed, and Cove did too shortly after. There wasn't much else to do.
This sucks.
I was hoping we can meet someone fun. Hang out, maybe.
He shook his head. After a moment, he slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression.
But you know what would really improve the day?
What? He didn't respond. Instead, he used a hand to point, right at the fruit arrangement that you were still holding. You'd completely forgotten about it during the mini-drama that unfolded. You'd gotten used to the wait. Glancing over to Cove, you noticed he was eyeing the fruit. He must want some too.
Why not? Let's eat it.
Derek perked up immediately at your words. He reached out for a skewer, hesitating slightly once he was inches away. You nodded. With an eager grin, he plucked out a prime row of fruits. Cove grabbed one for himself, after him. Only you were without a skewer of your own. You took a strawberry skewer. The strawberry was a bright red and beckoning you. It was the obvious first choice. I was about to punt the fruit bouquet at his little shit head. Derek ate the pineapple skewer enthusiastically, finishing it within moments.
This is amazing.
It's not different than any other normal fruit. It's kind of worse. These have been out in the open with their skins off for a while.
Sheesh. Hey, you two remember The Land Before Time? That fruit thing makes me think of it. The dinosaurs all liked the leaves that were shaped like stars.
Yeah, tree stars.
Yeah, chopping leaves looked so delicious when they did it. And there was that scene with the pretty trees, and all the dinosaurs came in and picked everything off them till there was nothing. That's us right now. Awesome.
That movie's for kids. Smug 13-year-old noise. I know, right, Samurai? I really loved The Land Before Time as a little kid. Oh, talk about a flashback, innit? You know what? No, great movie. Eating leaves looks good. Should I worry about you? He snickered.
No, I'm not gonna do it for real.
But I did pretend I was a long net when I ate broccoli one time. The three of you continued like this for the next few minutes. Eventually, the display was barren. It looked weird when devoid of fruit. Ah, hey! Oh, we weren't supposed to eat all of it! Ugh. Really? You couldn't stop yourself from sighing at the boys. You just wanted to eat some and have a nice time. Now you were probably gonna get in trouble. You could only accept it, though. That was the noise of Aster and Box. If you hear any ominous thumps behind me, Aster is playing in his box. Like, I kid you not, I got a massive box today. You want to know what was inside it? This is a box that is, there's two Asters. Two Asters could comfortably fit in this box. Do you want to know what was in this fucking box? A wall calendar. A normal sized wall calendar. It was the most overpacked wall calendar I've ever seen in my fucking life. Why? Yeah, exactly. Why? It was a wall calendar. It was a 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 wall calendar that cost me $9 from JV Hi-Fi. One singular wall calendar was in a box big enough for two Asters. It had more bubble wrap than I had height. It was full of all the air little bags, and it's like, what is this? You all could have packed so many wall calendars with this packaging. The spirit of 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 was in that box. There weren't any packing peanuts, but like, you know those like air pillows that they put in packages sometimes? There was a heap of those like air pillows, and there was like a shitload of bubble wrap, and it was just like, I'm all for protective, but this is a $9 wall calendar. It is not that deep, bro. I just needed something on my wall so I knew that what month it was. And I missed out on the Vocaloid one, so that's why I got a 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 one. Bright side, as you can hear in the background, Aster's having the time of his life. Hey Arthur. Yeah? The two of you met eyes. Casually, of course. Were you seriously gonna hit that guy? No, I just knew we'd get all scared over it.
Ew.
That was pretty bad, Arthur. I thought it was cool. Ha! 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫! I'm cool, motherfuckers! You hear that? You hear that? The green boy said I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool now. It's in the text. Eh? Still Rizzless? Schmooze! So rude! What? Ah, you're both crazy people. You knew when Derek said things like that, it wasn't serious. He liked you in Cove. Yeah. Derek then leaned back on his arms. He contemplated the sky with a content sigh. So, are you both ready for summer break? How's someone supposed to be ready for a break? I mean, it just feels like there's a lot to plan for. And what about you, Cove? Are you ready? Yes. Before he could say anything else, the light atmosphere was shattered. Hey! Hey there! You glanced over your shoulder to see your sister. She strode closer and closer, appearing none too pleased. Oh, come on, Zana. I'm cool. The game says I'm cool. I've been looking all over for you. Ma said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden bought for us. She leered over you with arms folded. So, where is it? You're late. It's all gone. What do you mean, gone? You moved over to the side to face her completely. She zeroed in on the bouquet in your hands, which was now populated exclusively with skewers dripping in juice and tiny flecks of leftover fruit pieces. Her mouth dropped open, and the tone of her voice rose.
What?
Seriously, Arthur? What were you thinking? It was supposed to be for all of us at home.
She glanced at Cove, who sat beside you and continued mockingly.
Even if you did have an in with the delivery boy, this was up to Mr. Holden.
Cove gave you a bent smile of support, which didn't help disprove her accusation. It wasn't us. A seagull came down and ate it all while you weren't looking. Elizabeth narrowed her eyes, not at all deceived by your response.
Oh no, I think I hear the mean kid coming back. Oh, we better get out of here. Oh, ha, ha.
Elizabeth blinked, confused, and looked around.
What kid? I don't see anyone.
Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. Cove hopped up too, gladly taking the opportunity to exit the situation. He followed after Derek, but he sent a look to you from over his shoulder. You turned to watch Elizabeth. She stared back, brow raised. You stayed. You didn't make a break for it. Instead, you carefully got out from the sand, bouquet still in hand. Once you straightened up, Elizabeth smiled affectionately over at you.
Come on.
Ah, come on, fugitive. You nodded, then gazed at the empty bouquet. How would you explain what happened?
You know, you could tell them that those boys ate it all. They bailed, so they didn't get to tell the story. Moms would never find out. And you'd let me get away with that.
She bumped your shoulder, winking cheekily.
What else is family for?
You laughed together, making your way home side by side. When you and Elizabeth had returned earlier with the empty bouquet, Mum was bummed she didn't get anything. Ma consoled her with a promise to make her a fruit flower of her own later. Elizabeth said nothing about how it came to be empty, and the event was dropped without question. You think they were just happy you and your sister seemed to be in good moods. That was a while ago now. Later that night, you found yourself seated near the kitchen counter. Fuck, that's an old phone. I'd say, oh my god, war flashbacks, but the phones at my workplace still look like that, so... Oh my god, war flashbacks from 5 hours ago. Your fingers drummed on the surface as you waited, your gaze trained on the phone. You were waiting on a call tonight, specifically from your cousin Leandra. You didn't want to miss it accidentally. Your uncle, aunt, and Lee used to live many hours away. Your families only saw each other a few times a year for big occasions. A while back, though they'd moved and were closer to you than ever before, you now hung out regularly. We still have landlines too. Boomer! I'm sorry. You know what? At least it hasn't got a cord coming out of it. Then it really would be an old phone. With school being out, you're positive she's going to want to come over a lot. The two of you were the same age and got along well. She used to be really fond of Elizabeth too, but now that your sister has become allergic to interacting with her own family, it tended to just be you and Lee who spent time together. Alright guys. This... Hi Doom, give Doom loads of snuggles for me. Alright guys. Which one do you think I should go with? Like, which one feels more accurate? You know, do I seem like the kind of guy with many girlfriends? Or do I seem like the kind of guy with singular girl who is friend? Singular! Rude! Motherfucking rude! Rude! Fuck all y'all! Wrong answer! She was your only friend who was a girl. You weren't a girl yourself, so maybe that was why. Now, do I have plenty of friends? Or do I have no friends? Come on, we all know the right answer. I'm surrounded by friends because I'm ultimate Rizz 9000 hee. No. All right. So, all right. But I had plenty of other friends. I kept them spare like my shiny notebooks. Give me a moment. Oh, finally went away. But you had plenty of other friends. They all just happened to not be girls. Then the shrill ringtone announced an incoming call. You jumped before grabbing the receiver and pressing it to your ear. Hi, Rin. How are you? Welcome. Angel Residence, either speaking. You were greeted by a distorted, high-pitched giggle. Why do you sound so weird? Mum answers the phone like that sometimes. It's supposed to be polite. You should go with hi. That was something a robot would say. There was static on the end, as if Lee was shifting wherever she was. So, can you believe school's actually over? I thought it'd never be done. Now, we don't have to do any of that boring stuff, and we get to hang out whenever we want. Speaking of hanging out... Lee, can you wait a second? Let me just head to my room. Oh, yeah. You got up from your seat at the counter. Luckily, the phone was wireless, so you didn't have to worry about any cords tying you down. Your mum's had a rule about not moving the phone unless a call was in progress, which was why you'd been sat by its cradle waiting for Lee to call. You didn't like it, but it had to be that way. You weren't the only person here. If anyone could take the phone anywhere at any time, it'd be an even bigger hassle. You could easily imagine the receiver having a new forever home in Elizabeth's rocked room. But now that Lee had called, it was okay for you to go upstairs to your bedroom and talk to her. You jogged up the stairs, taking two at a time, smiling. After you'd arrived, you shut the bedroom door firmly behind you. You took a seat on your bed. Alright, I'm here. Cool. Hey, did you know the girl down the street from me has her own phone now? A cell phone. She doesn't even have to wait for someone else to stop using it or anything. Wow, really? The thought of someone having a phone that was all their own seemed unbelievable to you. Right, I wish I had one too, but my parents said I couldn't get my own phone until I'm more grown up. I wish they'd change their mind. We could all call each other like every single day and no one would be able to stop us. How great would that be? But wouldn't I still be using a home phone? My moms would be able to stop us if they wanted. Lee laughed. You didn't put a damper on her imagination. Oh, then you have your own phone too. That works. She sighed dramatically. I bet I'm not gonna get one until I'm all the way in college. Squeezing the phone between your shoulder and ear, you puffed up your pillows and made yourself more comfy. Hi, Bonbon named Lola. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it and welcome in. It was strange to think of a time when normal school would be over and you'd have to choose whether or not to go to a college. School was such a big part of your life right now. Motherfucking run, bitch. Let's see. All right. Am I a studious nerd? Let's go with. Oh, so. What kind of shit do I want to be? You know what? Let's go realistic shit. You can't top perfection. I cool yet?
Hi, Newbie Danya. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Lex. How you doing?
You never tried much, but you still didn't do that bad. Ghosting by had become routine for you. Teachers had warned you that you wouldn't be able to do that forever, but you figured it was enough for now. You hoped to do just as well this year, but it wouldn't be a big deal if they dropped some. Grades weren't the most important thing, no matter how good or bad they ended up being. Yeah. You tried to sound engaged, but your mind had decided to go back to school despite the season. Lee knew you too well to be fooled.
You sound so spacey. What's up?
Just thinking about school? Lee groaned.
Are you thinking about how we don't have time to think about it because it's summer? Because that's what I'm doing.
It's so awful. I hate going.
I get what you mean. Though, I guess school isn't all the way bad. You can do some good things there. You can just do more when school's out.
Gym is pretty great though. I'm gonna have the biggest pics of a 15-year-old. True, the cafeteria lunches at my school could be better than they had any right to be.
Oh, lucky, mine's boring.
It's the easiest way to hang out with people not in the neighborhood. If I didn't go to school, I'd never meet anybody new. No one really comes here.
Uh-huh.
Learning new things can be cool. Just wish everyone did okay with how they taught the things, not just some people.
Me too.
But that was all, because I did not like PE as a child. Realism. And that's pretty much everything that's good about school, I suppose.
Okay, point taken. Now, I decree the topic of school is officially closed. We have to talk about this summer first because we start plotting the rest of our lives. I've got some plans already. Like, I'm gonna visit my cousins.
You chuckled. Of course.
What's something you want to do? The first thing that comes to your head.
Well, I've got some new art supplies. Can't wait to try them out.
I can't wait to see what you make.
You leaned back in your bed, settling in, as you continued chatting with your friend. Even though it hadn't been that long since you saw her and you'd be seeing her soon, you found plenty to talk about. For one, the events of the day. You sat up straighter.
I was with Cove and Derek today and we met a new kid. Like, at your neighborhood?
Mm-hmm. His parents are visiting family, so it sounds like he'll be around for a little while. Don't know how long.
Well, what was he like?
Creepy. Mean, weird, kind of interesting. I don't know what sauce that last one's on. Asta's jamming his head in the blinds. Yeah, I see you, buddy. Creep. He was mean. He kept snapping at her. He kept snapping when we were all we were trying to do was talk to him. He just kept being rude to everyone. But especially Cove. It was awful.
I don't think I want to meet him.
You want a boy to stay away before even meeting him? That's an unexpected twist. Your cousin was pretty popular with the boys who knew her. She seemed happy enough to have them around until they started to annoy her.
Who are you to talk? Cove and Derek are always around. They're both boys, you know.
That is not the same. Lee laughed at your rejection of the idea, deeply amused. After a moment, you chuckled along with her. There was a stomping noise approaching your room, heralding the arrival of your irritated older sister. She flung the door open, a frown etched on her face. The little adventure from earlier hadn't gotten you any goodwill this time, it seemed.
On.
How long are you going to hog the phone?
Glancing at your watch, you realised that your quick call had gone on for much longer than anticipated. Elizabeth held out her hand, the other lodged on her hip. She noticed the realisation on your face.
Yeah, time's up.
No, get out of my room.
Rizz.
I don't think so. You can't have everything in the world. Well, neither can you. I'm not the one asking for it. You had your turn, now you want to get mine too because you were first? In your dreams, I will get Mom's.
You glared at her. She glared right back before whipping around and shouting at your door.
Mom! Either won't give me the phone and it's way past my turn.
She hollered back up the stairs.
Let Elizabeth have her turn. Sharing is caring, and you only get rights to the phone if you use it responsibly. You heard her.
Fine. Lee, I have to go now.
Bye.
Okay, see you soon. Tell Elizabeth and your moms I said hi too.
You barely pressed the end call button when Elizabeth whisked the handset from your fingers and began dialing someone new as she strode out of the room. Your ma's voice called from downstairs.
Hey, has anyone seen the phone? I'm using it.
With that, she shut your door behind you. Asta, stop it. Look, Asta's using violence. He's knocking stuff over.
No, yeah. I know you were out of your box. I saw you. You are not that subtle, mate.
Cats, am I right? That was one way to end your first day of summer break. Sometime later, it gotten dark outside, and you laid in bed wide awake. Your window rattled all of a sudden, startling you badly. You flinched, staring over at it with furrowed brows. From your vantage point, you only saw the moon and an open sky. You were curious. What had caused that noise? Cocking your head, you sat up and moved closer to the window. You wanted to get to the bottom of this. To your utter shock, your gaze was met by a pair of familiar ocean blue eyes. Is this motherfucker pulling a Casper?
Cove?
You squinted. Yeah, Cove was right outside your window. Your house was very angular, and some parts stuck out further than others, so it theoretically wouldn't be hard to climb around on. Still, just because somebody could doesn't mean you expected it to ever happen. Cove looked awkward and unstable. His feet were braced against a section of the wall that jutted out, his arms flexing with the effort to keep him upright. With difficulty, he waved, then he wobbled, immediately dropping his hand in alarm. You hurriedly opened the window, and Cove scrambled inside, nearly falling flat on his face, but he was able to right himself in the end. He released a breath once he was steady. Hi, Arthur. What's up, Romeo? I needed to talk to you and couldn't wait until tomorrow. If I rang the doorbell, I know your moms would have answered and they'd just make me go home, and I didn't really want to explain why I was coming over anyway, so yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Well, besides with you, I mean, but that's why I did that. As unexpected as it was, you were touched that Cove felt like he could tell you what was wrong.
Yeah, motherfucker climbed the house and came through the window. Bro pulled a Casper, except he had to obey gravity.
I might have tried calling or something, except my dad was on the phone. Cove suddenly looked very cross. Dad, he was talking to my mom. Still is, probably. You raised your eyebrows. Cove had eavesdropped on his parents' phone conversation. Yeah, I would have done that too. Cove looked relieved. A small smile played on his lips. Yeah, it's hard not to spy at least a little. It was about me. Are you gonna stay with your mum for a while again? Every year, Cove was sent off to live with his mum for a few weeks. When it happened, it varied. Sometimes he'd go during winter break, but usually he went during summer. Even though it was hard news when you found out he was leaving and you missed seeing him those weeks, you understood. To your surprise, however, he shook his head. That's what I thought too. But no, that's not what they were saying. My dad asked my mom not to have me leave this year. He said she could come stay with us here. You waited for him to continue. He didn't. The conversation abruptly dropped off. You couldn't help but stare at Coves. There was a complicated mix of expressions on his face. Is she gonna do that? Yeah. She told him she'd come. I know she's coming soon, before school starts. Oh. You'd heard Cove talk about his mum over the years. He'd tell you about past memories or what happened while he was visiting her. Still, it was one thing to hear about someone and another to actually meet them. Very soon, you were going to see Cove's mum in person. Can I have some of the cookies, Shara, please? That sounds so yummy though, oh my god. You were taken aback by the news, so you could only imagine how Cove felt. You looked over at him. He was pacing across your room, his features pained with dread. Before, they'd barely stay in the same room long enough to have lunch, and now we're gonna be all together again? The three of us after all this time? Just for a few weeks? I know I should probably be happy that they can talk to each other now, but I'm still not. I'm just confused and freaked out, and now I feel really bad for feeling this way. They're so... His fist tightened and his eyes became misty. I shouldn't keep getting like this. It's been a long time already, and I'm not a little kid. Though he wouldn't meet your eyes, you knew he was waiting on you to say something. Yeah, that's a lot. That's got the same level of comfort of, oh, that's rough, buddy. Like, damn. Oh. You know what? Let's be supportive. We can deal with this. Cove's expression cleared a little. Thanks. I'm actually really glad I came over to see you. A momentary silence fell over the two of you. You marveled at how the day started. You'd woken up eager for summer vacation, and now things seem to go crazy. The mini debacle with Mr. Holland's gift, the newest addition to the neighborhood, being so rude, and as all that wasn't enough, now Cove's mum would be living with Cove and his dad again. Your whole life was kind of like that, it seemed. Complicated and hard and different. Why couldn't things just get better with time? Either? The sound of your name, said quietly, pulled you from your thoughts. Cove gazed at you, concerned.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? I don't know. Yeah, I get it. At least, I think I do. Cove grinned reassuringly. It was small and delicate, but you knew it was genuine. He'd come here, conflicted and upset, only to end up worrying about you. He really was a great friend. You know, I think I don't want to talk anymore about this. He looked away, his lips thinning into a line, and rubbed at his arms. But I kind of don't want to go back home either. Could I stay a little longer, just doing something else? He appeared equal parts hopeful and vulnerable. How could you possibly turn him away? Hi, Blood Stardust 54. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome. Could you imagine if there was an option being like, no, go home, I'm gonna get caught? It just like loses all affection points. I've got a flashlight and some cards. You in? You waggled your eyebrows, already excited by the prospect. Cove perked up at your response, a smile appearing on his face. He immediately took a seat on your bed, not afraid to get comfortable in your room. Oh yeah? Yeah, Ghosty, yeah? Is that like a, oh, I got a great email, or I got a great email? You felt a little better at the sight somehow. You still had a lot of worries, but you were glad he was here. Refund, fuck yeah! Victory! And not just tonight. You were glad he came into your life in the first place. That was a change you'd never want to undo. Who would have thought that Cove would mean so much to you? You certainly hadn't in the beginning. You'd kept your distance, and so had he. Now you consider him to be one of your closest friends. You joined Cove on your bed, taking a seat across from him. He smiled at you again, but you could tell this time it was half-hearted. He was still easy to read. I mean, is that not just the heart of a refund? Oh sweet, I finally got the refund! But my brain's already designated this fun money, so you know where this is going? Other shit! Though he didn't want to talk about his mom and dad, he must be thinking about what happened and what's about to happen. Damn, one of these options is full of Rizz! I can either smile gently at him, put a hand on his shoulder, pat his back, give him a hug, take his hand in mine, or just like nudge him with my gripper. Ooh. You know what? I need to prove to you guys that I am full of Rizz. I promised Rizz, so I'm gonna do a Rizz. And then you're gonna have to admit that I'm irresistible. I nudged him with my foot. You took his hand in yours. You stretched your short arm out and gently held his hand. It wasn't much, but you hoped the contact helped even a little. Cove blinked, startled, before his expression softened into something more natural. Conversation was stilted and broken, often by silence at first. Then both of you were able to get into your usual candor. As your secret hangout session stretched on, you thought you truly wanted to keep having moments like this with him. You hoped a day would never come where your life decided that the two of you would have to part ways, and you knew Cove felt the same. You opened your tired eyes, groaning as they adjusted to the bright light that was streaming through your window and warming your pale skin. With a loud yawn, you rolled away from the sunlight and blinked a couple of times, clearing the sleep from your eyes before realizing with a start that it was actually morning. Fuck off! Y'all ain't supposed to pinpoint that line. Fuck, I tried to breeze past it. Fuck you mean blah? The fuck you mean blah? You couldn't remember even falling asleep. COVID crept through your window during the night, and the two of you'd spent time together, trying not to wake your parents. You must have fallen asleep while you were hanging out, but couldn't put a finger on exactly when. You wondered how late Cove had stayed before heading home. You'd rubbed your face and yawned again, contemplating whether you should get out of bed and get ready for the day, or stay snuggled up for a little while longer, until your gaze landed on an instantly recognizable mop of pale green hair, and you bolted upright and gasped in the surprise. It's only one bed. I'm sorry. Wait, no, I'm not.
Fuck you mean, blah?
He never left.
He was still there. In the morning.
You froze. Your muscles refused to move an inch and your eyes widened as you stared at Cove's sleeping form in absolute shock. If your mums found out he had slept here the entire night, you would both be in big trouble. Realizing quickly that you needed to get Cove out of here before your mums or Elizabeth walked in and found him, you willed your body to get a move on and swung your legs over the side of the bed.
You threw a pillow at him.
It's just like, fuck, yeet, move. The night was for Rizz, the day is for cringe, move.
Hi Rose, hi Tim, how are you? Welcome.
You whispered in his ear, Cove, wake up. You whispered his name softly but urgently, and his eyes snapped open as he woke with a start. You scrambled out of the way as he abruptly jumped to his feet before almost losing his balance and falling back down. He recovered just as quickly and faced you indignantly. What was that for? What? The situation dawned on him too before he even finished the word. Cove blinked at you a couple of times, eyes growing in panic as some thought that he could only hear settled in his mind. Oh my god, I fell asleep! You weren't exactly sure what to do as you watched Cove pace your room, looking around frantically. Cove stopped mid-step and you wanted to ask what he'd been searching for, but you guessed he wouldn't know the answer to that himself. Despite that, he hadn't calmed down completely. The atmosphere was still frazzled. Settle down before Mum sees you. Cove nodded, his shoulders tensed as he fixed you with a firm stare with his turquoise eyes. Letting out a heavy sigh, he ran a hand through his hair in exasperation. He couldn't look at you again as he spoke. I'll see you later. You were confused by how all of this had played out, but hoped that was true. Yeah. See you later, Cove. At that, you were suddenly wrapped up in a tense embrace. As panicked as he was, this seemed to be something he couldn't forget before leaving. Thanks. Again. You're a good friend, Arthur. He firmly whispered the words into the top of your shoulder. But you were let go before you had a chance to respond or even fully react. In a matter of seconds, he climbed over your bed and opened the window. A cool breeze rolled off the ocean, fluttering through Cove's hair and filling your room with its salty scent. Cove anxiously stepped out onto the ledge. You urged him to hurry up. Now fuck off! What is happening? You wished him luck. Good luck. Don't fall off my roof.
Hello, Astor.
You weren't sure if he heard you or not, but he kept going, one foot in front of the other with increasing speed, until his form disappeared out of sight. You stuck your head out the window as far as it could go to try keeping watch. He walked the full length of the ledge before jumping down to the top of the garage, then lowering himself onto the fence. From there, he finally dropped to the ground. You threw out a thumbs up at his successful climb. He ran off towards his house without stopping, disappearing behind the side of another building. You had to admit that you were pretty impressed with how doable he made that look. With a little sigh, you reclosed your window, deciding there was nothing more you could do. You hopped off your bed and got ready to head downstairs for the day. Oh my god, it's not right. You checked yourself in the mirror. You certainly looked like you'd just woken up with your white hair sticking up all over the place. Taking a comb from your bedside, you attempted to fix and smooth down some of the messy strands. You took the stairs, slowly attempting to mask your face into a look of innocence. Welcome, Xana. Alright, what you missed was Cove broke in the middle of the night. He kind of was like, he was having a bit of like an emotional thing and he needed some help and some comfort. And then we stayed and we chatted and then they both fell asleep in the same bed and they woke up next to each other and MC was basically like, oh shit, we're gonna be busted. Wake the fuck up. Then Cove woke up. He was like, why you wake me up? Oh shit, we're gonna be busted. And then there was a cute moment, which was kind of gay. And then he had to like sneak out the window, otherwise his ass would have been busted. There was only one bed, motherfucker. You took the stairs, slowly attempting to mask your face into a look of innocence. You were sure that someone would have come into your room if they'd heard anything strange, but you couldn't be too careful. You had to play it cool. When you stepped into the living room, Elizabeth was there, tapping her finger on the counter. Good morning, Elizabeth. She looked over you immediately, her eyes squinting at the greeting. Why are you being so weird? You hadn't even done anything! Ugh, your big sister never missed a beat, unfortunately. Your eyes flickered left and right as you sidestepped her and headed towards the kitchen. Either. Wouldn't you like to know? I would. That's actually why I asked. You shrugged non-committedly, determined not to tell her a thing. Further suspicious squinting occurred as she waited for something. But ultimately, she rolled her eyes and you weren't sure if you were in trouble or not. She didn't seem to care enough to dig any further. Whatever. And then she walked straight out the front door, letting it slam shut behind her, and you let out a brief sigh. Elizabeth went out most days to hang out with her friends from school around town. Today, you were extra glad for it, though you were also grateful she hadn't left the house any sooner and risked running into Cove. It looked like you were getting away with that. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. Your mums were both out by the time you'd gotten up. They'd left you a serving of food from the breakfast they'd made. Hash browns, an omelette, fruit salad, and there were a few sausage links. You took a little bit of everything. It was tasty. You appreciated that there was a variety in the meals your mums made. The day lazily drifted by at home, and eventually your parents returned. You pulled open the fridge again, lingering in the frosty air for a moment or two, before grabbing a bottle of ice-cold water and taking a long drink. It was a perfect, balmy summer afternoon, and you decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You hadn't decided what that something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. And as you were heading out the front door, you paused for a moment. You hadn't seen Cove since he'd left that morning, and you couldn't help but think about what had happened to him. Would it be bad to go over to his house right now, or to call him to check in? You stepped out of your house, still stuck in an eternal debate with yourself, when a voice caught your attention. Hi, Either! Confused, you looked over to where an unrecognizable woman was waving at you, a friendly smile plastered on her face. Thank you for the hydrates, Anna! Not your school, or from the country club your mums took you to. You had absolutely no idea who the woman was. The woman crossed the road towards you, and you were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back into the house and lock the door. Oops, I'm sorry. Was that presumptuous? I've heard about you, but you have no idea who I am, do you? You shook your head, and she removed her sunglasses to reveal sparkly, ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little more familiar. My son lives here, and my ex too. With a bent smile, she lifted a hand to point at the condo across the street from your own house. She was Cove's mom! I mean, damn, but also damn. Hello, Esther. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not getting enough attention. What? What? What do you want? What, you want me to just look at you for a bit? Are you getting jealous of the computer? Is that it? Is that it? Huh? He keeps, like, going to get into the box, but then turning around and looking at me to make sure I'm watching him. Yes, hello. Hello. Come here. Oh, you're getting fat.
Got that dying belly. Asta's come to say hello.
I know, right, Ghosty?
Asta's now sitting in my lap, aren't you, buddy? You comfy? Is that what you wanted? Is that what you playing hard to get for? You're such a tsundere cat. There you go.
You didn't know why you hadn't realised sooner now that you'd gotten a good look at her.
You comfy, Asta? Just gotta get a little bit closer. There we go.
She felt so different to Cove.
Hi, Mai. How are you? Welcome.
Asta Ghosty asks what the lotto numbers are. He responds with kneading bread with his right paw, then kneading bread with his left paw. Hopefully that answers your question. He's our little son kitty, aren't you? He's sitting in my lap like a fat old man on a chunky sofa, aren't you? Because that's what you were. I mean, like, you're not that old, but like, you've got a chunky belly. It's a belly full of dying. A belly that's got boom boom noises when you tap it. There's jiggle physics. His dying belly's got jiggle physics.
Yes, you're very cute, Asta. You're very cute.
In the little time he'd been around her, she'd given off a totally different impression than Cove did. No matter your thoughts on her, you still feel taken aback that she'd appeared here so suddenly. Cove mentioned that she was coming, but you'd gotten the impression it wouldn't be the very next day.
Lasty, how you doing?
He still plays with the fish toy a little bit, but like he keeps going back to the shitty little ratty catnip toy I got him a year ago. That seems to be his favorite, but he still plays with the fish toy sometimes, don't you? Don't you? You get bored of it because it doesn't smell like catnip anymore. Or would you get bored of it because it's not a box?
Hi, Lurie. Is it Lurie Kessery or Lurie Chessery? Either way, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it, Lurie. Welcome.
Yeah, this lady, like, she's like, I'm gonna do something, and then she does something. She extended a hand again, this time for you to take, and you studied the manicured fingers in front of your face and the assortment of bracelets that dangled from her wrist.
I'm Kyra Priest. You can call me Kyra.
You shook her hand. You reached out and took her hand, and she shook yours firmly, grinning wide. I'm Aether. You already know that.
That I do.
Cove's mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Aether. Cove talked to you about his mum, but he hadn't mentioned how he said things about you to her. Nice to meet you too. She smiled at you fondly, her eyes crinkling at the corners. I know, right, Samurai? Honestly. Yeah. But that's the thing, Ghosty. I've been doing that. I've been taking the toys, putting them back in the bag with the catnip, taking them out, and this little princess, I've left him in there for days, right? I'll take it out, give it back to him, he'll give it a couple of sniffs, and he'll be like, that is not the flavor of fresh catnip, that is old stale catnip. I do not want this peasant nip. I don't accept second-hand nip. Cause you are a spoiled cat, aren't you, Aster? Fussy little bastard. But oh yeah, all your boxes everywhere that you won't let me throw out. Oh, now he's licking his hand, looking extra proud of himself. I mean, honestly, Larry, let's be honest, so many of us has done that. Like, even quite literally, my VTuber name, Aether, Aether was originally a D&D character of mine, and to come up with the name, I kid you not, I just googled like those like those like fake elven languages. I just went on one of those like fake elven language translators and I just searched up wind and windy, and I either showed up. And I was like, that'll do, because my character was an air genasi. I never said I was creative. Which is ironic, because like I'm actually meant to be. It windy. Night night over sweet dreams. Esther says sweet dreams and belly plaps to you too. Hello, yes, you can have some head pads too. The sound of a door opening and closing caught both of your attentions, and when you turned towards the sound, it was to find Cove exiting his house, eyes skimming the ground. Considering just how tall he'd grown, you'd kind of figured his mum also would have been tall, but she was much more on the short side, for an adult anyway. Cove's height must have come from his father. There you are! I thought you were going to keep me standing out here all day! You tried to catch Cove's eyes as he walked toward you, but his gaze was firmly fixed on the sidewalk. When he finally crossed the road and looked up, he gave you a pitiful look. After the way he'd acted last night, you knew he must be feeling pretty mixed up about this. Oh, you can't spoil these guys enough. They're too spoiled. They've officially been upgraded to science diet kibble as of today, because they had a deal going. And they were very, very happy. They were getting sick of their pauper kibble. Yeah, princess of a cat. Honestly, my respect. Like, I tend to do one of two things: random name generator. Like, pretty much every single character name in my novel that I'm working on is just X name generator, because there's too many characters. And it's like, but like all of the locations, I've gone the complete opposite route of like, instead of being like random name character, that one sounds nice, let's go with that one. I've gone with the like, I need this place's location to have a meaning. This is the language that I've chosen as the basis for the name, so I'll choose it as the base of everything else. And so I go on Google Translate instead and say I look up English to Celtic. And it's like, okay, I need a town name. Red. This town name is now Red in Celtic, or has people in it. I'm pretty sure like Shores or Cyrus is like quite literally just freedom or some shit. Ah, I love that line. Oh my god. I used to be like way more careful with picking names for characters, and then I just got old and lazy, I suppose. You tried to wordlessly express that you understood. Cove and I are heading into town to grab something to eat while the snore is at work. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐿𝐿 beamed at Cove and ruffled his hair, which only seemed to upset him more. You assumed the snore she was talking about was Mr. Holden. Hey, you should come with us, either. I'd love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. There was pleading in his tone that you couldn't miss. Of course, we'll run it by your parents first. Responsibility and all that. It'll give me an excuse to meet them, which I need to do at some point. It's important to be neighborly if I'm going to be roosting on this street for the time being. Anywhoosies, let's go. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐿𝐿 walked ahead towards your house, and you hung back with Cove, who crinkled his nose as he watched her.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about her, but I really do want you to come. I don't want it to be just the two of us. Not right now. You leaned in closer and whispered, while checking around for anyone who might hear. What happened? Did your dad know you were gone? Cove shook his head and sighed heavily. Dad was so focused on Mom showing up, he didn't even notice. I thought when I heard them on the phone last night that it was something they were planning for the future. This morning, Dad said it was supposed to be a surprise, and I guess it was a surprise. She's gonna be here all summer. were surprised to hear that too. Cove sighed again, even heavier. I'll go with you, if you really want me to. He smiled, his shoulders relaxing a little in relief. Thanks. That'd be cool. The two of you headed over to where Cove's mama just knocked on your front door and stood behind her. Mama answered the door after a minute, her eyebrows lifting up in surprise at the group she found in front of her. You realized that, like you, she'd have no idea that it was Cove's mum who was hanging out with you. However, after blinking at the woman a couple of times and looking between her and Cove, the realization seemed to strike on her. Yeah, she does kind of have like the California girl vibe, doesn't she? But like, kind of like almost like, I wouldn't go as far, like California beach girl, but like the really down to earth ones. I am. Ooh. Okay, that's pretty cool. I love the like creativity that's gone into that. Till the bitter end. Rest in pieces. I know, right? Sound right? God, I swear, if she like divorced the dude literally just because she thought he was boring, that's a bit shallow. Oh, you done? You done with pets? All right, be free, Asta. You content after your 5 minutes of belly and head pat? All right, he seems suitably fruffed. Hello there, I'm Pamela. I see you've met my kid, hi there. And I'm guessing you've already known Cove for a while. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 laughed, and you and Cove exchanged looks at your parents' weird sense of humor. I'm 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 Rizz, Cove's mom. It's nice to meet you. A head of purple-brown hair caught your eye as Ma popped up behind Mum, squeezing herself in beside her. We have company! I was wondering what all the commotion was. She grinned excitedly at 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫. The two of them introduced themselves and shook hands. Hi, Either. Cove. Cove smiled at Ma shyly, and she gestured a hand towards the living room. Well, there's no use hanging around in the doorway. Why don't you come in? I'd love to, but I promised to take my son out to eat, and I wouldn't want to hold you up with a surprise visit. Oh, I understand. You're welcome to stop by any time. I'll take you up on the offer when I can. Count on it. Would you mind too much if Either went with Cove and I? My treat. We won't be driving, just a quick walk down the road. Sure, that sounds nice.
Have fun.
I hope you all have fun. You gave your mums a look, and they smiled at you fondly. You were happy they were just letting you go. You could tell that Cove really needed the support, and you were ready to be there for him. Hi, Sugar. How are you? It's lovely to see you. Let's be honest, Ghosty. The only thing that Asta would text you with what he wants as gifts is like, I do not care what the gifts are, but make them large and come in a cardboard box, because I know what I really want. Marvelous. Expect us to be back in an hour or two. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Your parents waved goodbye to the three of you as you backed up onto the street. There was the sound of the front door closing behind you. I'm pretty positive I saw some restaurants when I was in the taxi, not too far from here. Yeah, it's a tourist town, isn't it? There's a lot of them around. It's kind of strange to see Cove give someone this much attitude. If he wasn't in the mood to be nice, he generally just kept to himself. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 put her hands on her hips and smiled at her son. Well, you sound like the area expert. Do you have any recommendations for a place nearby? Not really. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 pouted at him a little and turned to you instead. How about you, Either? Want to point me in the right direction? You shrugged. You'd been to a lot of places in town, none of them really stood out. Well, let's head into town and see what we can find. Will you show us the way? You nodded, taking the lead of your little group as Cove and his mum followed behind you.
Together, the three of you left the neighborhood behind. You walked around for a little while, looking at the different options and gazing into the various shop windows. Most of the restaurants you passed were filled with guests already, sampling the town's various food places. And when you headed past a familiar place with gold writing on the glass and a red lacquered roof that you'd always admired, you started to slow down. My family comes here all the time. It's really good. I think we have a winner. I've always loved Chinese food. Let's head on in. The restaurant was busy as usual, but luckily you were shown right to a small table. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 lowered herself in the chair, while Cove picked the one diagonal to her, not facing her or to her side. It was awkward. Let's see. To start, what would you all like to drink? I'll get an orange soda.
Noted.
Either? Soda. Which flavor? Cola? Sure. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 placed the order for your drinks, getting a black hot coffee for herself, and it didn't take long before they were brought to the table and set in front of you. You took a long sip of your drink as you looked around the restaurant. Your small group checked over the menus, and you decided to order a usual thing. You'd been to this restaurant many times, so you knew what was good and what wasn't already. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 and Cove didn't need any encouragement for this. They were totally focused on the information in front of them. Soon the meals too were ordered and the menus taken away. You glanced at the table service, waiting to figure out what to say. Cove sunk back further into his seat and avoided eye contact. He started to twiddle his thumbs while acting like this was all perfectly normal. His sour feelings today were unignorable. Instead of asking more open questions, he'd brush off. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 had mercy on her son and instead put her focus towards you. So, either, what's a few things that you're into? There's gotta be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. I like to read. Manga. I haven't heard of that style, but I'm sure it's very good. Fiction novels? Me too. Nothing beats curling up with a good book. And I write things? A fellow writer? Writing is a great form of expression, don't you think? 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 sighed wistfully, her eyes going soft. I spend time on art, in drawing. I filled out a lot of sketchbooks. And you didn't say anything else. Thanks. I'm happy to learn more about you. There's so much I haven't heard. Cove leaves the details out. So what exactly did Cove say about me? 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 laughed, holding a hand in front of her mouth. I can't tell you that. I didn't come all this way to embarrass my son. Too much. Kids are delicate at this age. She laughed again, and you glanced at Cove to see his reaction. He was trying not to pay attention, but you could tell he was uncomfortable. Hoping it would clear some of the tension in the air, you decided to ask 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 a few questions of your own. Cove hadn't told you much about her, and you were curious to know more about this woman who was such a big part of his life. So, what exactly do you do for work? I'm a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop on what's worth seeing. It's good work. Wow. Fuck it. We're a dumb kid. Let's do this. Why did you and Mr. Holden get divorced? Cove nudged you in the arm, and when you looked at him, he seemed furious. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 brushed the question off lightly. That's grown-up stuff. You should enjoy your youth while you can, without having to worry about all that. Cove sipped his soda angrily, slurping up the remaining drink with furrowed brows. He looked ready to run straight out of the restaurant. weren't sure if coming along had ended up making the lunch better or worse. You smiled at him, and Cove eventually noticed you watching him. It took a couple of moments, but finally, he cracked a smile, and that made you feel a little lighter inside. You two seem really cute together. Cove covered his face with his hands and leaned back in his seat. Ugh, Mom, why would you say that? Thanks. We are cute.
Very.
Your meals were delivered shortly after that, and everything was so delicious, even Cove enjoyed his food.
Alright, now that we're all full and content, can you explain please why you've had a bug up your butt all day?
Cove's face scrunched at that.
Seriously, baby, what did Mom do to make you this mad? I hadn't even been around a full day yet.
He gripped the edge of the table, refusing to make eye contact. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. But you could have told me. She leaned forward not to miss anything else, her eyebrows raised.
Told you what?
He finally seemed to find his voice and spoke the thoughts that had been on his mind. That I wasn't going to visit you this year, and you were going to be coming instead.
Didn't you invite me? You wanted me to be here with you.
Cove's eyes began to shake, and his frustration ebbed. I do want you to be around, but I didn't know it'd be like this. It's not the same, and nobody said anything.
I see.
Her expression grew tense. She threaded her fingers together and placed her hands in front of her on the table.
We've both been gifted another Clifford surprise.
Referring to that as a Clifford surprise almost caused both you and Cove to crack a smile. You also had no idea his name wasn't just Cliff. Over 5 years, nobody had ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed her hair out, not letting go of her stern look.
The more things change,
the more they stay the same. They let out identical sighs, but smiled weakly at one another afterwards.
Let's go to...
I'm sorry.
I can go home, Cove. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends.
Cove's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option. I think I do want you to stay, and I miss it when you're not there.
My heart!
She reached across the gap, grabbed his face, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried to wriggle away. Mom, stop!
I'm sorry, sweet young men need to be smooched by their parents. If I don't, they'll take away my mom license.
𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness did return to her voice when the conversation continued.
Do you want to talk to your dad too?
No! Cove had snapped the word instantly, but reeled his annoyance back in just as quickly. Maybe later. Not today.
I understand if we can shelve it.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you for talking to me, little mister.
She grinned affectionately at him before turning your way.
And thank you, Either.
What did I do?
It's easy to act like a baby with your mom. It's harder to keep that up with your neighbor watching everything. Especially when you really care about what that neighbor thinks about you.
She winked. Mom! She just ruffled his hair with a laugh, then moved her head down to tap the end of his nose. And that was how the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. When the three of you left the restaurant and 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 had paid the bill, you walked back to your neighborhood, slowly. You'd eaten up so much by that time, and we were beginning to feel sleepy. It didn't help that the lunch had happened late and the sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. But eventually you reached a street, and someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Welcome back, family! And Either too!
Cliff?
Dad. The two walked past him into the condo without sparing another word. Despite the summer heat, their shoulders were cold. I'm in trouble. He rubbed the back of his neck with a crooked smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. He's so much like his mom, don't you think? You gave a vague nod, not sure what he was expecting you to do. He nodded back far more energetically. Okay, have a nice night, Arthur. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cove's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. Xana would have selected the dad's hot option. Summer hadn't started off all that well, at all how you imagined it would have, though it turned out to set the tone well. Having 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 in the neighbourhood was a new experience for not only you and Cove, but also both your families, and a dull moment was rarely had. Alright, we've got options! Yeah? On the... Oh god, there's extra DLC? You kidding me? How much DLC you need? Alright, so, our options are... Wave, growing, family, dinner, road trip, mall, birthday, summer work, escapade, and soiree. Which one should we go with? Ooh, they're all gonna have good nuggets in them. Let's go with escapade. That seems like it's full of mischief. You looked up, noticing the sun was finally setting. You'd been trying to delay the end of the day for as long as possible. The evening breeze tickled your nose as you sat on your front porch, munching on fresh watermelon slices. The snack made you happy. You picked up another slice. Even though you'd already had dinner, you were still delighted to make room for watermelon. You turned to look at Cove. You'd both been sitting in comfortable silence for a while now. He sat next to you, close enough for your shoulders to touch. He was happily absorbed in his thoughts and his own slice of watermelon. Chuckling, you watched as his face twisted in discomfort. He had to stop chewing to spit a seed into the bush. Bet I could spit seeds farther than you. Immediately, you shoved the majority of what was left of your watermelon slice in your mouth, just to get the seed to prove your point. As soon as you could, you sent that seed sailing into the middle of the street. See that, Cove? Cove burst into laughter that slowed into a wide grin. You could tell he was equal parts surprised and impressed. Can you do that again? I didn't see where it landed. Of course I can. You popped another seed into your mouth and focused on where the last one landed. Setting the seed free, you got it to go even further this time. Not bad. Not bad? You had Cove chuckling again. It was taking a lot of focus to stay looking serious and not to break into laughter yourself. I'd like to see you try. I will. Cove took in a mouthful of watermelon, face grimacing when he had the seed. Then his expression morphed into a focused look and he sent the seed flying, landing in a similar spot to yours. Wait, you got to do two. I need another try. He spoke before you could even comment on his non-victory. His determination got you laughing. He quickly sent another close to where your second one landed. Seems we're evenly matched for now. Yeah, for now. For the next several minutes, you both kept carving seeds from your slices and giggling at the ridiculousness of the competition. Eventually, a truce was called, and you both went back to eating the neglected watermelon flesh. I wonder if I'll have another slice after this one. I want to eat your third already. Is that bad? It tastes really good. Oh, the second one's the asshole option. Unable to resist, you slap that shit out of his hand and make him cry. Welcome back, Hugo. Wait, oh no. Have fun at work. It was lovely of you to join us while your break was ongoing. Hello again, Asta, you attention whore. You sighed affectionately. If another slice is going to make you happy, it will. Go ahead, I'm not going to stop you. Cove picked up another slice. He smiled at you, delighted. A little while later, Cove flinched, making a confused sound. He slowly put his current slice down on the plate next to him. You okay? Yeah. He stood up, head tilted back to look at the sky. His feet took him to the middle of the street. Did you notice anything? What do you mean? I thought I felt a raindrop. The sun's still out. You put down your watermelon slice and hopped off your front step. Immediately you felt a tap of water on the crown of your head, making you yelp. You're right! Cove was still staring up at the sky, and you watched as he began blinking more rapidly, and when he finally turned in your direction, his face was bemused. Ghosty. It's a sun shower. It seemed crazy, but soon you couldn't avoid the drops that began increasing into a light shower. Booming with laughter, Cove kicked off his shoes towards his front door and reveled in the moment. You were annoyed with the sudden sprinkling. You hid from the rain. You dashed back under your awning in hopes of staying at least a little dry. But you couldn't even be mad about the shower that caught you. Cove's joyful jumping and spinning was infectious and had you grinning from a distance. You look like you're gonna fall into the ocean. So what? Just as suddenly as the sprinkling started, it stopped and left you dripping with the smell of wet asphalt and soil tickling your nose. Cove caught your eye, running a hand through his wet hair, combing it back. He frowned. It's over. The drops of rain clinging to his face almost could have been mistaken for tears. He sounded that disappointed. Well, it was fun. Yeah, it's so cool that it happened. You then looked over at your door and sighed. You knew Ma wasn't going to be happy to see you trailing water into the house. Cove rubbed his arm awkwardly. He must have been thinking the same thing because he watched you sympathetically. You can drive at my house if you want. My parents won't mind. Thanks, let's do that. Yeah? Okay. His whole demeanor brightened. You figured he must have felt relieved to help you avoid getting in any trouble. Cove led you inside and you stayed close to him. We get to see inside his house. Snoops. We have a ton of spare towels. I'm just gonna dig them out of the hall closet. I think I'm gonna need to borrow some clothes from you too. Cove didn't have any towels yet, but he came back in eye shot so you could see him stare at you flatly and roll his eyes. We're not exactly the same size. You'd be swimming in my clothes. Oh, I'm not joking. It'd be nice to borrow a shirt. He raised an eyebrow. A thoughtful expression appeared on his face. I'm just gonna dry my stuff off, but I guess that'd be okay for you. I'll get something. Thanks, Cove. With that, Cove disappeared and returned in no time, with towels in hand, plus what seemed to be one of his pajama shirts. It was bright pink colour with a dark brown seashell pattern all over. Very him. Here, I hope that works. Nice, thanks. You accepted both the towel and the shirt. You wrapped the cloth around your neck temporarily and took a trip to his bathroom to change. Hi Shiki, hi Raiders, welcome, welcome. How was your stream? Did you have fun? Hello dear Raiders, my name is Aether, it's a pleasure to meet you. And today we're playing alternate games. And by that I mean our life beginning always specifically, and Cove is adorable. We're at the second stage at the moment. And we're committing so much Rizz. And if chat tells you differently, they're lying. It's such a good game, isn't it, Shiki? Oh my god, like I've never played it before. Like I've had one stream where I was playing the first round, but like this is my first playthrough. Oh yeah. No, I'm not Rizzless. I'm Rizz full. I don't think that works. Oh, fuck you, rude. Do you have fun playing MapleStory though? And by the way, like, for all of those wonderful folks who just came in, if you need yourselves a naps, you need yourselves a sips, whatever you need, take care of yourselves. If you just need to immediately fuck off and pass out, totally cool. I completely understand. I live in Australia and I also work, so I feel your pain. But still, welcome, get comfy, and experience some hot Rizz. Oh my god, Liz. The shirt was old but very soft. Oh yes, we've just acquired the boyfriend shirt, by the way. As you can see, my Rizz is dripping like the rain. The shirt was old but very soft. You already felt more comfortable just thinking about having it on your current damp attire. You left your shirt over the shower curtain rod to dry, patted yourself down with a towel, and slipped Cove's shirt on. You wrapped your arms around your torso. The change didn't completely fix your predicament, but it was definitely an improvement. Despite Cove's prior comment being pretty on the money, it was huge on you, but it was dry. Not wanting to keep Cove waiting, you promptly returned to the living room. He looked up to greet you after hearing you come back down the hall. How'd it go? It's all good? Cove didn't need you to tell him that the shirt looked like a big sack on your frame. You weren't going to complain though. He was trying to be nice. 200 hours, oh my god, that means you must have like played through all of the different routes and options. By any chance would you have all the DLC in that case? Yeah, thank you for it. You're welcome. Just remember to give it back sometime. A sudden call caught both of your attentions. I thought I heard voices. Cove's mum strolled into the living room with a curious grin. What happened here? You're both wet. There was a sun shower. Badass. Cove smiled back at his parent. We came inside to dry off. My mums don't want me going into my house when I'm wet. So I told Aether to come back here. Oh, that was very sweet of you, baby. She ruffled Cove's wet hair and laughed at the drops of water that shook off. Then a light came to 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐿 eyes.
What do you think?
I have an idea. Why don't we go for a drive? It has to be standing around the house, and you'll air dry in no time. Cove only offered a shrug and a bent smile to his mum. He looked at you for a real answer. Yeah, let's do it. Fun! This'll be good. What? There's an R18 oh my god! Damn! This game is like they looked into each other's eyes and died inside from the oh my god, my fingertips touch. Ah! Damn! I mean, yeah, you know what? It is an Ultimate game, I'm not surprised. And I can absolutely see multiple of the people in chat here right now going, our life beginning and always Patreon. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐿 pulled her cell phone from her pocket to call your mums. They'd swapped numbers early in the summer. Head on out to the garage. I'll meet you there in just a minute. Sorry, my mom can be so pushy. She gets some idea in her head and that's what she does. That's okay. Thanks for letting me come. I didn't do anything. That wasn't true at all, but you let him get away with that. Come on. Cove led you to the car and 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐿 wasn't too far behind.
Okay.
Okay, in the back you do. Once the three of you were situated inside, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐿 started it and drove out of the residential area. When she hit a main road, the car sped up and she rolled the back windows down all the way. Hey! Cove started laughing as he kept trying in vain to keep his hair from flying into his eyes too much. Meanwhile, you closed your eyes as the wind whipped against your wet clothes. I said this drive is going to be good for getting air dried. Yeah, but I didn't agree to this much air.
Cove tried pressing the window button, but nothing happened. His eyebrows furrowed in frustration. Thank you for the hydrate. I appreciate it. Holds me. And how are you? Welcome. You disabled the back? Sorry, I can't hear you. Smiling deviously, 𝐿𝐿 turned on the radio and turned it up to be heard over the wind. You laughed and enjoyed the event. You yelled into the wind and burst into laughter. Looking over at Cove, you saw him relax. He seemed glad that you were having fun. And then something struck the side of your leg. Several papers were freed from under the car seats and were blown about. Oh, they can't go out the windows! Cove began haphazardly reaching around the space to try and get it all back under wraps. You watched him struggle, entertained. Ah, man, I love the arsehole options. Amused, you helped.
Mom, close the windows!
𝐿𝐿 offered no response other than a chuckle. She just kept driving. Cove snatched several of the papers out of the air, and you caught others, preventing most of them from flying out the window on your side. You showed Cove your collection while grinning widely. Look at how many we saved! You figured if they were sitting in the back of the car, they couldn't be important enough to get upset over, but Cove continued to look annoyed. Your smile started to slip, and at that his expression softened. You did good. Thanks for helping. The sun set completely, and at that 𝐿𝐿 rolled up the windows. Cove let out a big sigh and released the random bits of paper he had in his fists. Ah, my mom is crazy. He ran a hand through his wind-blown hair and laughed with a bit of exasperation. You didn't know what was happening anymore. After all that, you wonder what was going to come next, biting your bottom lip. Cove watched you with interest until his focus was taken by a new comment from his mum. I bet you're not feeling damp anymore. No, but now I feel tricked. You could tell by his tone that at this point his complaints were more performative than serious. You spotted 𝐿𝐿 looking at you both a moment in the rearview mirror, smiling. You sided with... Yeah, let's get our bully on. You sided with 𝐿𝐿. She did say she was taking us on a drive to air out, and that's what happened. Precisely, Arthur. 𝐿𝐿 continued driving. The radio volume was adjusted for the closed windows, and everyone was sitting more comfortably. 𝐿𝐿 lowered the sound even more after pulling into a red light. She took the chance to turn around, and you caught her coy smirk. Does anyone know that we drove past during the dry cycle? I'm not sure I want to. A movie theater? Okay. Most places have one somewhere. It isn't that late, you know. We can probably still catch a show. Really, Mom? We don't even know what we'd be playing. That's what makes it fun. I want to see a movie. Both of you? He seemed hesitant. You gave him a smile and Cove eased up a bit. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating impulse behavior every day, but it's important to seize the moment when you can. We might never have another night like this. And don't worry either, I said I'd watch over you for the night, not just 10 minutes or so. I'll put your parents in the loop about hitting the movies as soon as we get there. I didn't bring any shoes. Yeah, I'm not wearing any either. You lifted your foot up and wriggled your toes so Cove could see. Well, how are we gonna go inside barefoot? I don't know. We'll sneak through quick. No one will notice. You can just do it, just this once. She is chaos personified. You bounced in your seat excitedly that it was actually gonna happen. 𝐿𝐿 was right. You never got to do stuff like this. 𝐿𝐿 drove into the theatre parking lot and shut the engine off. With the unbuckling of her seatbelt, she ushered you and Cove out. Despite being hesitant to leave, once outside, Cove burst into a sprint towards the cinema. You were right along with him. The tarmac was still wet from before and cold to stand on with bare feet. Inside, you noticed there were no lines. All the current shows had already started. 𝐿𝐿 paid no mind and strode up towards the counter with some words of encouragement.
third of the running time is ads these days. We haven't missed anything.
Meanwhile, Cove stood next to you awkwardly. He shifted from one foot to the other and constantly kept looking around. His shady behavior would have made him much more likely to get caught than standing still would have if there were people around to really notice. It was pretty goofy. You teased him over it. You know, you're being the most obvious rule breaker in the world right now. Sorry, I don't do this all the time. You definitely break rules all the time. Relax. As long as you act like nothing's wrong, no one is going to suspect anything. I'm doing that and I'm barefoot too. Should I be worried that you're so confident about getting away with things? Maybe. Eliciting a sigh of relief out of you, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 returned with the tickets in hand. She quickly herded you and Cove towards the showing room. I am so sorry for the little hiccup, but hold on. We've almost made it home free. Once we sit down, it'll be smooth sailing. The lights were already off in the showing room, but the movie hadn't started yet. The upcoming movie trailers were still playing.
Aha.
Yes! Hi Glitch, welcome! Keeping her volume in a hushed tone, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 couldn't help but burst with excitement over your luck. You followed her down the walkway until she spotted open seats in the middle-ish area of the theatre. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 pointed at the seats, looking over her shoulder at you and Cove, waiting for input. Cove nodded and you decided to give her a thumbs up, and she led the way. When you reached your seats, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 sighed contentedly. Cove gave a sigh of his own and lifted his feet to sit cross-legged instead of keeping them down on the floor. He then leaned over and whispered to you. Do you have any idea what the movie is? No, I didn't hear the name or anything when your mum bought the tickets. Oh boy. After a couple more previews, the main event began, and it dawned on you quickly that it was a horror film. One about a group of students being haunted by dangerous ghosts. You became nervous. You struggled with frightening films. It was one thing to go see a movie you knew nothing about, but horror movie? That's kind of an entirely different story, and it's eating at you that you had no idea what kind of scary you should be bracing for. Glancing over at Cove, you noticed that he looked less than thrilled with the movie. He bit down on his bottom lip and stared at the screen with trembling eyes. Cove had never been a fan of ghosts or intentionally frightening things. That was something you learned about him from early on. You tapped Cove on the shoulder to get his attention. You gave him a light pat and he jumped slightly at the unexpected touch. Cove became worried when he realized it was you and he saw the look on your face. He watched you with an unspoken question written all over his face. Will you be okay? You shook your head, no. His face grew firm and he mouthed something you couldn't make out. Then he did something you could understand. He got up from his seat. Cove gestured for you to do the same and you obliged, and you both began to shuffle down the aisle. At some point, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 must have realized what was happening as well, because in only a couple of minutes the three of you were standing outside again. Mother and son looked at you apologetically. It made you uncomfortable, but 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 spoke out to ease the atmosphere. This was a bad idea. Hi Ali Algia. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. And welcome. Let's take the 13-year-olds into the horror movie. That won't end badly. I'm good, Glitch. How you been? And it's always lovely to see you, by the way. Welcome back, Ace.
Come on.
I think you're right on the money, baby boy. Movie making is a lost art anyway. Let's hit the road. That was good with you. You'd been scared and worried sitting in that theater, but in the end, 𝐿𝐿 backed you up and you didn't have to go through it. You hugged him. You were so glad that you could count on him to be there. It wasn't possible to stop yourself from throwing your arms around him. He returned the embrace carefully. You stood together in the parking lot for a moment like that for a brief moment. I really didn't want to see it. I know. It's okay. 𝐿𝐿 gave you a reassuring smile, and that was that. Both you and 𝐿𝐿 took the same seats in the back of the car again. Even though it was late, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 was trying to keep things light.
Well, we can safely say that start was a bust. I'm really sorry. I should have asked if there are any off-limit genres. I think I have some making up to do. Who wants dessert? Or just some regular food? What? You were surprised when you realized 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 wasn't on the way home, but turning to a drive-through burger restaurant. Why not? That's the spirit. Get whatever you want. I have a hamburger, some chicken nuggets, milkshake, a cookie. That's everything. Is that alright?
Of course.
It's A-okay. Cove was tickled by the size of your list and had no disapproval over it. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 pulled up to the window and ordered what you asked for first. She then decided to order one of everything on the value menu. Whoa, what are you gonna do with all of that? Eat it.
Really?
Hi, Isabella. How you going? I mean, like, keep in mind, Ghosty, right now, I'm embodying a 13-year-old boy. Rest assured, my psych thriller days came when I became an adult. Part 3, I will be cradling him in my very manly arms. But we must go through character development first, right? It's gotta feel natural. The slow burn's gotta feel legit, you know. It's no fun if we just give it straight in. No, we gotta go slow. Cove comes over to the yard of that milkshake. That's one godly milkshake. My milkshake brings all the coves to the yard, and they're like, why? And I'm like, ha 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 ha. The whole menu, even after 𝐿 picked most of that already. That's right. There's only maybe 10 things on it, and they're about $1 each. I could swing it. And besides, whatever we don't finish, I'm gonna feed your dad. He'll be in heaven. Cove sighed affectionately at his mother's antics. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're quite welcome. After a few minutes later, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 exchanged her money for multiple bags of food, which she quickly tossed to you both in the back seats. She then drove off into the night. Can you pass me something? What should I grab? Surprise me. You choose one of the wrapped sandwiches and hand it to her. You had no idea if it was a burger or something else. Thanks very much. Accepting that this was what was happening, Cove shrugged and started pulling food out of the bag for himself. Cove ended up with some onion rings and he happily munched on them. You selected something randomly. 𝐿𝐿𝐕𝐓's crazy ride just kept going. You got to wonder if this night would ever end. The adventure continued and you were so preoccupied in the back that you almost didn't realize the car had stopped. 𝐿𝐿𝐕𝐓 had turned to look over her shoulder. Okay, party people. It seems we've reached the end of the road. Confused, you checked out the window and saw nothing except empty road ahead. And then you noticed it. The now leaving sign. 𝐿𝐿𝐕𝐓 took you through the entire town. What are we doing here? 𝐿𝐿𝐕𝐓 turned the car around and parked it along the side of the road. I think you both could use a break to stretch your legs. And I doubt anyone's going to come through here at this time of night. Besides, I need to make a call, so go on. Cove shook his head and got out of the car without a fight. You followed Cove. You got out and caught up to Cove. He was busy looking at the stars and stretching his arms while he strolled around. Being there was pretty cool, in your mind. This was a good place to stop. She's just going to take us all around town. At least it wasn't done halfway. Cove smiled, glancing from the stars to you. Shortly after, you noticed Cove's expression change. His eyebrows furrowed and it seemed like he was thinking hard about what he wanted to say next.
I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry for my mom being crazy tonight. She isn't always like this, seriously. You mean she doesn't kidnap the neighbors all the time? Cove snorted briefly before becoming serious once more. I
think she feels like she has to get out there and do things with me while she can, and she wants to make the time memorable. This visit has been really different than the others, and it didn't start off good. Thinking about how 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮 trip began this summer, you could understand why Cove was thinking along those lines. She probably wanted all the trouble to be worth it in the end. You having a good time with your mum around? Yeah. Still weird having her and Dad in the same house, but I love her. She's my mom. I like hanging out with her. Most of the time. I went silent between you both. So you jumped when you heard the sound of a car door closing. Cove! Hi there! You turned to see 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮 by the driver's side, waving. The sight brought you a smile to Cove's face, and she quickly made her way over when both of you were standing. Thanks for waiting. I didn't mind. How did I end up with such a polite boy? She ruffled his hair and Cove lowered his head, accepting the compliment. You thought about how interesting it was to see Cove interact with his mom. Anyway, it's kind of cool to be here, right on the edge of town. Exactly. We're standing on a precipice. I think so too. I knew you'd get it. It's good to appreciate these times and places. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮 let out a big breath of air. We should probably call it a night, huh? You felt disappointed it was actually over. Kind of hoped some other unexpected thing would pop up to keep things going. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮 shyly smiled and gestured to the car, and quietly, you all made your way back to it. Cove naturally followed you, taking the seat nearby in the back with a collection of fast food bags still strewn about. You rested your head into the seat as the car roared to life, and as you did, Cove leaned in close to whisper. I can talk to your moms if they do get mad about tonight for some reason. It was my mom's idea. You didn't have a choice. Honestly, this was worth it even if they do get mad. Your mouth gets pulled into the biggest grin, getting a laugh out of Cove. Have fun editing, Shara! Mwah! If you say so. Also, don't worry about bringing the shirt back when we get home. Just keep it. Till tomorrow? He simply shook his head. Good. Secretly, you'd hope to not have to give it back. Cove smiled softly at you and said nothing else. The drive home was smooth and uneventful. The radio was off completely, and you felt your eyelids getting heavy. Your head came to rest on Cove. You were too tired to keep your head up, and it felt quite comfortable there. Cove didn't have any issues there. He leaned into it. You must have been exhausted too, and you were happy to stay close like that. It was warm and comfortable. When you opened your eyes, you expected to still be in the car, not your bedroom. But it was somehow already morning. You couldn't remember how you ended up there. Sitting up in bed, you thought about how last night was quite an experience. It almost would have felt like a dream if you weren't still wearing the shirt that Cove had let you take. It definitely happened. And you were glad you got to have a spontaneous escapade this summer. Alright, that was cute as fuck. I know, right? Like, it's just knowing that my current player is like, I've designed them to be in the emo phase. So it's like soft boy Cove and I'm just a kid and nobody likes me. I'm just a kid. When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. Opposites attract. It's like, I've got one of the DLC unlocked, because I'm pretty sure I remember when you sent me the coin for the DLC last time, I think there was like enough to get either 2 or 3 unlocked. So like I kind of just spread it across. So like 1 in the babies, 1 in the mid, and I can't remember if I got 1 in the finished version. So I don't have all the DLC. All right. Ooh, which one shall we go with next? Ooh. Oh, this is hard. We've got wave, growing, family, dinner, road trip, mall, birthday, summer work, soiree. To sound extra fancy. Wave? Yeah, let's do wave. Having a sip of my drink. The family shopping trip had lasted most of the morning, and you still had to unload everything from the trunk before you could go enjoy the afternoon. You cradled another bag in your arms as you headed towards your house. It was one of the heavier bags from the grocery store, loaded with fresh apples, ripe tomatoes, a bunch of carrots, and even half a watermelon. Ma came out the front door and paused just ahead of you. Hi, Blinkers! Thank you for the follow, darling. I appreciate it, and welcome.
It's no trouble.
Need any help with that either? I can bring it the rest of the way if you want me to. No! I've got it! You could just manage to hold it. Even if it was heavy, you wanted to bring it in yourself. Ma gave you an encouraging grin and rustled her fingers through your white hair. You set the next bag on the counter. Your older sister began to root around inside for the contents with a sigh. How much is left? Still a few more bags. With a huff and a puff, Elizabeth continued putting away the groceries and you retreated out of the kitchen before you could become the target of a bad mood.
Be careful.
Careful, Arthur. You hadn't been looking where you were going and bumped right into Mum, almost stepping on her toes to boot. Sorry. I can give you a pass this time, but be sure to watch where you're going. If you run into the wrong person, you might get your license revoked. She grinned at the bad joke as you continued through the door. Outside, Ma had started organising what remained and putting back any loose objects that had fallen out during the trip. When you stepped up to the trunk beside her, she took in a big breath of air, her dress gently swaying around in the breeze. It's a shame we had to spend the morning cooped up in that shopping centre. It's a beautiful day, don't you think? You tilted your head to the sky, gazing at the clear blue expanse. It's too hot. You wrinkled your nose, feeling a few beads of sweat gathering on your forehead from lifting stuff around the sun. If there were a cloud or two around to lessen the heat, you'd be enjoying the weather a lot more. With a small sigh, you turned back to help Ma with the last of the bags. Oh, hi, Cove. You notice Mum wave over at Cove, who had just exited his front door, his surfboard propped up under one arm. Let me see. Surfboard and wetsuit. Where might you be off on this beautiful day? Cove flinched at being called to so suddenly. He hadn't realized there were people out here already, but he quickly recovered. Good one, Mrs. Angel. He crossed the pavement to properly say hello to you and your mums. Hello, honey. It's a beautiful day for surfing. I haven't been out on the waves in a long time. I'm jealous. Cove smiled, pleased to have people around who shared his hobby. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a few good waves before it gets dark. Do you want to come and hang out there later, either? Yeah, I could do that. Cool. Can I help out with anything? No, this is our job. You go enjoy the beach. Either can catch up as soon as he's finished here. Alright, I'll see you. Yeah. You watched as Cove headed off towards the beach, unable to hide your grin, knowing that you'll be joining him soon. Once everything had finally been taken in and put away, you got yourself ready to meet Cove at the beach. Your family had a surfboard around here somewhere. Can I take your board to the beach? Oh, sure, it's in the garage. Just remember to keep the leash on when you're in the water. After finding the board in the back of the garage and getting everything ready, you headed down to the beach. Shush! I have super cool points! I have rad points! Have fun, honey.
Stay safe.
Ride with the Anyway, when you arrive at the shores, you were greeted by the crash of waves and the soft calls of seagulls. You took in a lungful of ocean air and felt your pale skin warm in the sun. You noticed a small setup nearby with a towel, some sunscreen, and a bottle of water. Must be Cove's. You spotted Cove himself nearby. He hadn't gone out to sea yet. He was just sitting in the sand at the water's edge, his board propped up beside him. You ran up beside him. Hey! You waiting for someone? Hi there. He looked up to you at you with a smile and quickly hopped to his feet. I was wondering if you were still coming. And stay inside all day? I don't think so. You were able to make him laugh with that. Then he cast his eyes out towards the waves. I'll be honest. I borrowed this board, but I don't know how to surf. You dragged a toe through the sand. You may have had a board to borrow, but you were totally inexperienced with actually using it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I've never seen you with one before. He laughed a bit and you felt no less embarrassed. We don't have to go out. We don't have to go out, you know. We can stay on the shore. Or, if you want, I can teach you. No! You wanted to try surfing? Alright. Yeah, I'll do it. Let's surf! Cool. You held your Mars board tight. It was settled. You paddled out into the ocean where the good waves were. The water was cool against your skin.
Nice.
Not too calm, but nothing crazy. It looks perfect today. He smiled at you and you couldn't help but smile back. You felt totally content. Until Cove kicked the water a little too hard and it inadvertently splashed you. Hey! Sorry. The apology did not come across as especially repentant, as he was practically laughing when he said it. You splashed him back. You laughed but waited for an opening for revenge, and the second he looked away, you kicked back, spraying him.
Seriously?
Hey! Is that any way to treat someone trying to help? I came out here to teach you. And I was just following your example. Cove tried to keep a straight face, but ended up looking away. The water you flicked at him landed in shiny droplets in his hair. Then here's another lesson. He soaked you deliberately this time. He used his full leg and an impressive curtain of water to hit you in the face. Ah! You lost your balance. Wait. Probably a good idea to say that, actually. Are you okay? That wasn't what I was trying to do. I'm fine. We should do the real teaching. Yeah. He chuckled awkwardly and shook some water out of his ear. With that, Cove started telling you all the tips and tricks of how to stay on a surfboard. He demonstrated both cool and bad posture and explained where you needed to put your weight. Like this? You wiggled your body so that you were more in the center of your board, and Cove nodded. Yeah, just like that. The little lesson continued and it was disastrous. You could scarcely stand on a motionless board without falling right back off, but Cove still supported you regardless. Since you weren't truly ready for it, Cove never pushed you to start taking on the full waves, which meant he didn't either. Instead, he stuck by your side in a calmer seas to assist you with your practice. There was no disappointment on his face over how things played out. Even if you hadn't reached the point of doing any real serious surfing yet, it was still a lot of fun. Many laughs were shared between the two of you. What an afternoon. The setting sun was visible on the horizon, and every time you'd look away, it sunk a little lower. The beach was darkening, but still pleasantly warm. You knew you should get out of the water before it was completely dark in the sea. You rode one last wave to get back to the beach, and there, you picked up your surfboard and gave it a quick once-over. Cove followed behind you to the shore. He put his board with his other things and grabbed his towel to start drying off. And as he ruffled his hair with the towel, you watched the sunset together. The colours were beautiful in the distance, and the shadows around you deepened. There was no need for words between you two as you both enjoyed the sight for a moment. Cove broke the silence. The waves were good today, I think. Do you really think so? He nodded mildly. You chatted a little more until the conversation truly died out, and all you heard was the rhythmic sound of waves. Then Cove sighed. The day can't be over. Not yet. He scowled into the distance as if the sun exiting the sky was a personal offense. Don't you think it should be longer? Yeah? Cove stood up straight in the defiance of the approaching darkness. I'm not gonna go home yet. I wanna go somewhere. I don't know. Cove was still dripping in salt water, so you weren't sure what the alternative was. Wetsuits were fine for the beach and not much else.
Hi, Dika. How you going? How you going? Welcome, welcome.
It wasn't a good idea for him to lug his surfboard around town either. Yeah, I want to do something too. Cove nodded with a smile. Then he looked down the shore with wide, shining eyes. There's at least one place that's always okay to hang out in, no matter what time it is. The park. You nodded. The park was virtually always empty.
Hello, buddy.
Even Elizabeth only went over there nowadays if she was looking for you. How times have changed. She used to be so protective of the place. In fact, the only person there was a chance of running into might be that Jeremy kid again. You brought the idea up to Cove and he cringed. But I'm still going. The sun is still there, a little. I'm staying out as long as it is. You tagged along. Okay, let's go. Cove took a minute to put his stuff in order. He made sure to get it all, though he didn't take much care to shake the sand off. You dealt with your own things. You stuffed everything together quickly. I'm done, Cove. He rolled his eyes with a bent smile at the announcement. He led the way down the beach to the park. It wasn't far, so it didn't take you long at all. The sun still hadn't completely disappeared yet when you made your arrival, and Cove stuck his surfboard upright in the sand and tossed his towel over top. By now, the two of you were mostly dry. The summer breeze on your skin kept you pleasantly warm. Cove idly went over to the monkey bars. He grabbed them, feet flat on the ground, and pretended to go across. He had definitely grown in the past few years. You were still short enough to use the monkey bars yourself. Sometimes being tiny had its perks. When he got to a bar in the middle, Cove pulled himself up and through, and sat on top of the bars. His legs dangled off the side of the bar he perched on. You joined him on the monkey bars. You looked above yourself to inspect the monkey bars. You might have been short, but that just gave you more experience in climbing things. You leapt and grabbed at one of the bars, using the momentum to swing yourself up. It took a little more scrambling, but you made it to the top. Cove seemed impressed. Fuck you. You settled on the monkey bar like it was a throne. You didn't get to be above everything often. Guess what? He smiled broadly and raised an eyebrow. He's not here. Right, it was true. There wasn't a single sign of Jeremy. Looks like it was just going to be the two of you tonight. Cove hung his head and groaned dramatically. Your eyes widened when he whipped his head back up.
No way.
Ah, I can't believe how dumb my parents are for forcing me to come to this stupid place. You were taken back and blinked for a second before you realized he was quoting Jeremy. Ah, parents don't know anything. Cove chuckled back at you, amused.
Hi there, lovey. How you going? How you going? Welcome, welcome.
And why did your bunk be rude, motherfucker? I'm pure and innocent. It's a new year. I'm a new me. Ooh, ooh, bitch. You looked around. The old park, the streets you knew like the back of your hand, and the beach. These were your stomping grounds. You wondered how Cove actually felt. How much was his joke just a joke, and how much was his sincere dislike of the place? Moving had never been his choice. Do you actually like this neighborhood? You really have to ask that, either? Cove kicked his legs carelessly as they dangled. He smiled softly. I like it here. I really do. It's a nice place. He didn't hesitate. There was no uncertainty. That was his genuine opinion. Well, of course. I'm here after all. He shook his head with a rueful smile. It didn't take long for the day to finally draw to a close. The sun was gone and it was dark. The beast syndrome for this motherfucker. It's like Nami's out here like, alright, I'm ready. I'm gonna cradle him in my arms, I'm gonna rizz him 2 seconds later. It's not that I like you or anything, Baka! Ah! 7 love in here. Hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses. Hi, Miss Ryan. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for following. I appreciate it. And welcome to the Uncanny Valley. And Samurai, I will have you know that I am still in my 20s. Thank you very much. And also, canonically, I'm like 2000 and something, blah, 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 blah. So, mood. Mm-hmm. Also, fuck you. Hi, Christine. How are you? Welcome, welcome. I will have you know, Ghosty, fuck you. Hi, Ronnie. Welcome, welcome. Didn't take long for the day to finally draw to a close. The sun was gone and it was dark. You chatted a while longer, but it was definitely winding down. You chose not to say anything. You sat in the dark in silence. Cove shifted position so that his back was on the monkey bars and he could look up at the stars. You wondered how comfortable that could be. Look at the moon. It's so clear tonight. You glanced up and saw a great gibbous moon, swelling over the sky. Few clouds covered the sparkling stars above. Too bad we can't stay forever. Cove sighed. It was time to go home. He hopped down from the monkey bars with a thump and his feet hit the ground. You clambered down the monkey bars yourself. You lowered yourself more slowly than Cove and barely made a sound when your feet reached the ground. Cove grabbed his surfboard and threw his towel around his neck, and with his water bottle in hand, he was ready. You both began your trek up the road. It was a quiet night and you didn't run into anyone else. In what felt like no time at all, you'd reached your street. And when you came to your houses, you turned to each other. Thanks for today, Arthur. Yup. One day I'm gonna do a whole playthrough where I'm just a dickhead, and I want to see if that works. Thank you for the follow, Christine. I appreciate it. Thank you, and officially, welcome to the realm of wonderful Rizz. Stares deeply at chat because I am irresistible. Look, I can't think of many words that has Rizz in it. All right, I'm struggling. It's definitely an interesting experience. Cove waved and you both turned around to your respective houses. This was a pleasant end to the outing, you thought. The end. Alright. Which one shall we go with next? Ooh. What can I say? I guess I'm just gonna have to take the risk. I will see myself out. Ooh, road trip. All right, go with road trip, and then after we'll give Mall a shot. Worth it. Oh, come on! You like my little rizzle. Faux shizzle my rizzle. Anyway. Hi, Ali. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Even though you're awake, the sun had barely peeked its head above the horizon, and the sky above was still dark, though lightening by the minute. Usually you wouldn't be up so early, especially during summer vacation, but today was different. Today, instead of the lazy days you were used to, everything around you was a flurry of activity as both your family and Cove's prepared for what lay ahead. Because parked in the street, just outside your house, was a massive RV camper, so big you couldn't even see Cove's house behind it. His parents had rented the RV for a few days to take him on a short road trip to see the Redwood National Park. You glanced at Cove, who was standing nearby, taking in the scene in front of him. The prospect of the trip had to be a mixed bag for him, but it was only 3 days, so he was dealing with it as best he could. Especially now that you and your family were joining them.
Aw, thank you for the 10 biddies, Tika. I appreciate your Rizz.
I guess you could say Tika came in with the old rizzle dizzle. Anyway, you weren't sure exactly how it happened. You knew your parents and Cove spoke to each other often, and somewhere along the way plans were made after Cliff offered to share the space. The parents all thought it was a fantastic idea. You'd already gotten a good look inside when helping to load everything in, and you had to admit that while it was a really big car, fitting that many people inside was going to be snug.
Let's go.
Move it or lose it, kiddo.
Mum bustled past with a cooler in one hand and a large bottle of water under the other. She was upbeat for this early in the morning. Ma, however, seemed to be on the other side of the wavelength. She followed behind her wife, dragging her feet on every step. Oh, I'm gonna need a whole jug of coffee once we hit the road. You could relate to Ma. It was way too early. You yawned and rubbed at your eyes, still sleepy from the early morning wake-up call. The air outside was still damp from dew, and that helped make you a bit more alert. And then, at the end of the chain, came your sister. She had a bone to pick before the trip officially started. Her rattling off critiques added some level of normalcy to everything new going on.
I don't get why I can't sleep in the bed tonight. Either is the youngest, and I'll never fall asleep in that loft.
We're trying to make things fair on everyone. If you want to play the older card, you should be offering to take the loft both nights. It's important for big siblings to make sacrifices for the younger ones. Elizabeth huffed, not happy with that answer in the slightest, and folded her arms, leaning back against the side of the RV. The trip plans had been nailed down prior, and the sleeping arrangements included. Elizabeth still held on to her objections with them. There was a main area of the RV with a couch, loft, and some floor space. At the end of the car was a room with a large bed. Your mums were sharing the bed, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 was on the couch, and father and son intended to sleep on the floor. The adults determined you and Elizabeth would switch between the small loft above the driver's seat and sharing the bed with the mums.
Callie, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. How was your stream? How you been? Ray.
Motherfucker, we ain't there yet. We still in the Rizz stage. We gotta Rizz first. Thank you for the follow, Honey Boots. I appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome in, darlings. How you doing? How you doing? How was your stream? I hope it was absolutely wonderful. We are playing the dating simulator, Our Life Beginning and Always, which has taken me about three years to actually turn around and fucking play. Oh my god, oh my, I think I've seen that emote on Twitter. You got M-Pregged. Oh my god, the fact that you've got it as like an emote you can blow up is fucking amazing, Callie. Just putting it out there. Happy New Year. Oh, god, I got so excited to see you, I forgot. Alright. Breathe. Ready, okay. Oh, Callie. It's been a year since I've last seen you. Hey. Yeah, I'll put myself back on hiatus now. Be proud of me. I tormented every single person who came into the VC on New Year's. With that exact quote. Hi, Katie. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Oh my god, your friend's a legend. Now, the real question, Callie, because you know me, you know I'm a man of particulars, I'm a fussy bastard. I have to ask, M-Preg, is this just standard M-Preg, or are we talking ABO? You know, asking for a friend. That's me, I'm the friend. How deep doth this rabbit hole go? Hugs and kisses. Hi, Lyrical Alexis1. Thank you for the follow, darling. I appreciate it. And welcome to the Uncanny Valley. Oh, come on, Nanami. Didn't you want to get New Year's Rizz? Yeah, I think that by the end of that call, if Shara could ban me from my own server, she would have. I don't want to blame them. Yes, so basically to give some context, we're playing Our Life. It's a lovely little wholesome dating sim full of Rizz and cute shit. And right now we are in the second stage of the game. So the main character and the love interest are both 13, because this is a childhood friend 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 game. So basically, first stage, you're snot-nosed little shits. Second stage, you're teenagers. And third stage, that's when you're older, you're adults, and that's when the true shizzle happens. So right now, we are setting the stage. You feel me? Oh, thanks for giving Swift a sub, I appreciate it. Also, suffer the emotes, motherfucker. Say with love. Say with love. The adults determined you and Elizabeth would switch between the small loft above the driver's seat and sharing bed with the mums. You were excited to sleep in a loft. It'd be a new experience for you and sounded kind of cool. All right, you lot. Does everyone have everything they need? We're heading out in 5 minutes. Now's the time to double check. You didn't want to forget something important. At the word, Elizabeth yelped and dashed back into the house, her bedhead hair bouncing behind her as she went. Ma came over and gave you a smile, setting her hands on her hips. How about you, Aether? Do you have all of your clothes packed? Toiletries, deodorant, floss? Anything else you can think of? You weren't sure about that. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I can't remember what. Ma chuckled and gave you a squeeze on the shoulder. Have fun getting moist, Callie. Don't forget to clean between those grippers, otherwise they'll get nasty. I'm sorry. For real though, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it, old friend. And I hope you have a wonderful shower, wonderful night, and get some wonderful Z's. I promise to traumatize your community. I get like that on trips too, so I've learned to pack extra in case I or anyone else forgets. Mwah. With the amount of supplies we've stuffed into the RV, I think we'll be okay. It's only a few days after all. Thanks, Ma. With a few minutes left to spare before leaving, you mentally went over what you had packed for the trip. Clothes, a pillow and a blanket, usual day-to-day gear for most people. You'd also more personal things, such as pencils and paper. You had to be prepared in case you saw something to sketch at the park, or if you had to write anything down, or if you needed to pass the time just doodling. An MP3 player with headphones. With so much time going to be spent driving in a car, you wanted to make sure you'd be able to have some music to be put on. The pajama shirt that Cove gave me. Because you absolutely fucking bet. I kept the boyfriend shirt. Thank you very much. I know my priorities. Sniffles in 13-year-old twip. You wanted to have something comfortable and special to wear on a trip like this. And you wanted Cove to know that you were still using it. And that was everything. Hey, let me take that for you, Arthur. I'll stow it in the RV. There's a few spots left, it'll fit. You let 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 take your bag and gave her a grateful smile. With nothing else to do, you watched the others getting ready for the trip. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 and Cliff seemed to have the most energy of anyone. They were finishing packing the suitcases away while your mums had gone to lock up the house. They high-fived whenever another one got crammed into the storage compartments of the vehicle. Oh, come on, Fluffy. You know you're never too late for 𝐿. They high-fived whenever another one got crammed into the storage compartments of the vehicle. Exactly, Shiki. You know what I'm doing. You know what game I'm playing. Even though your own parents were more low-key than 𝐿𝐿𝐵's, you could tell they were both excited for the trip. It had been a while since your family had been away anywhere together. Elizabeth skipped towards the RV, a bag slung over her shoulder, and you were surprised to see she seemed more optimistic about the whole ordeal now. Welcome back, Shara. We missed you. Hi, Nova. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Usually she wasn't one to exit the confines of her room unless it was for TV or food, or to leave her family behind to be with her friends. You would have thought 3 whole days packed in an RV with 6 others would be too much for her, but it was a nice surprise. You supposed any vacation was better than no vacation in her mind. Oh, it's too late, Shao. You're out of your cave now. Welcome back to 𝐿𝐵. Always test for butt babies, because they'll be a pain in the ass when they come out. Cove had been pretty quiet so far, and more than anything, seemed to be overwhelmed by the situation. Have fun lurking! You were curious about the RV. You'd never stayed overnight in one before, and wanted to know what it'd be like. Soon the miscellaneous remaining tasks had all been wrapped up. Everyone piled into the RV, and it was officially time for the trip to start. Oh, come on, Ghost. What can I say? Streaming is a high-risk adventure. And it did. Cliff took the first ship driving. He cautiously navigated the massive car out of the narrow neighborhood streets. It was touch and go for the first part of the journey. Your mums and 𝐿𝐿𝐵 were all huddled at the front, trying to get a view of how much space they had on each side. There was a sense of relief when the first long leg of the trip was hit, and the RV would only need to go down one stretch of highway for miles. I'm sorry, dear Ghosty, but the only HR here is high Rizz. The mum group cleared out of the driver's area, leaving 𝐿𝐵's dad to it, taking more comfortable seats around the main cabin. You felt like you could finally relax now, too. Time slipped by as morning faded away. And before you realized it, the engine of the RV came to a stop, but it only halted for a few moments as Cliff climbed out from the driver's seat and Mum took over. Ma was sitting shotgun, giving Mum a quick tutorial on the controls, as it was her first time driving anything this large. Cliff groaned as he headed towards the rest of you, stretching his arms above his head and loosening up his muscles. We're making good progress.
Yeah, maybe you should take a nap in the back for a while. That was a long haul you just did, and I know you're on less sleep than usual. Cliff waved a hand, that trademark grin of his slipping into place.
I don't need sleep. I've still got a few miles in the old tank. He flexed an arm, showing off his muscles to drive the point about how resilient he was home, and 𝐄𝐫 rolled her eyes in amusement. Dad, everybody has to sleep. Cove shook his head at the tough guy act, though Cliff simply chuckled and ruffled his son's hair. Are you going to be driving again anytime soon, Mr. Holden? I want to know so I can prepare. Did anyone pack some rope? I might need it. There's no seatbelts up here. Elizabeth called down from where she was lounging in the loft above the driving compartment. She was laying on her back, hair falling over the side and swinging around as the RV started up again and took off down the road. A bag of potato chips was balanced on Elizabeth's stomach, and she tossed a couple in her mouth right as Cliff held a hand to his chest, pretending to be offended by the remark. 𝐄𝐫 laughed lightheartedly. Luckily for all of us, we have enough adults to cover the shifts today. He won't be driving again until tomorrow. Just enough time to write out my last will and testament. Oh, not you too! The rest of the group laughed while Cliff pouted, and you gave him an apologetic shrug. Mum then shouted back in her seat to join in the conversation, a playful smile tugging at her lips. What I'm more worried about is this old monster getting us there and back again before falling apart. It looks as though it was built in the early 90s. It must be older than some of the arguments. That's just the aesthetic of the decor. It's not that old, I think. Did you ask what year the model was before you rented it? 𝐄𝐫 wrinkled her nose and thought. Yes, I did. I just can't remember what the answer was. Cliff chuckled at her, while the rest of you let out a collective sigh. The RV lurched a little as it picked up speed, and you held onto the ladder to the loft to keep your balance. You felt something graze the top of your head before a weight settled on your white hair. When you tilted your chin up carefully to look, you heard the rustling of the bag of chips and realized Elizabeth had rested the end of it on your head. She gestured to the opening, silently offering to share her snack. You took a handful. Reaching up, you scooped some chips, and after that the weight of the packet left your scalp. You happily munched away as the conversation continued on, and you got closer and closer to your destination. The day flew by with the group of you chatting, playing games and passing the time together before finally arriving at the park and setting up for the night. Ma was closing the windows while everyone got ready for bed, saying goodnight to the others as she made her way to the back of the room. You had all dinner together while still driving, and some hours after had arrived at your destination and found a spot to park in for the rest of your stay. Giving a look across the front of the RV, you noticed almost everyone there was already dozing off where they were, with Cove having completely fallen asleep curled up in the passenger seat. He must have done so while 𝐄𝐫 was driving the last leg, and they decided not to disturb him. 𝐄𝐫 herself was the only one up there who was still awake, flipping through a magazine next to the portable light from her spot on the couch. It seemed Mr. Holden needed to sleep despite his claims. You followed your mums into the back room and closed the door behind you, before crawling onto the bed between them. It was a queen-size bed, so there was enough space for the three of you together without too much squishing.
Good night.
Get a good rest, 𝐄𝐫. We got a big day ahead of us tomorrow.
Fantastic.
I'm looking forward to the bushwalk in the morning. It's been a long time since I was out in nature like this. There will be plenty for us to see. You stayed awake a little while longer while your mums whispered about the park and forests in general. And with the sound of their voices in the background, eventually you nodded off to sleep. Thank you for the care package, I appreciate it. Nom 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 nom, stretch, arms. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yes, save, yes, save! Done. The next morning, you were up bright and early, preparing for the day ahead.
You had an okay sleep. It was nothing compared to your bed at home, but at least you didn't have to sleep on the floor, so you couldn't complain too much. Ma whined about the firmness of the mattress, but Mom had only encouraged her to enjoy the trip while she could. While looking for a spot to get ready, you had some trouble finding a space of your own as the others were doing the same thing. Cove was perched on top of the counter, brushing his hair and tucking his legs every time someone wanted to move past. The parents were checking, double-checking and triple-checking that you had everything, to the point where you'd stop listening to them altogether. And you knew you wouldn't be returning to the RV at all that day, but by the look of the backpacks that were packed up and ready to go, you doubted anything was missing from them. It didn't take much longer until you all exited the RV in a bustle and headed into the Redwood National Park. Wow. Cove had his head tilted up towards the canopy of trees, his eyes wide as he took in the massive trunks on either side of you. You knew that redwood trees here were considered the tallest trees on Earth, but you weren't prepared for exactly how huge they would be in person.
Come on.
Smile, you two! You spun just in time for Kyra to snap a picture of you and Cove together before she pointed a camera at Cliff, trying to get a shot despite his weak protest that she should just enjoy the moment. Your parents were walking behind the group a little, with Mum telling Ma some information she'd read about the park in a brochure. Ma listened happily while looking around and taking in the sights, every now and then asking a question or making a joke about something Ma had said. You smiled at them, thinking your mum must have read a lot of pamphlets to know so much about the park.
Maybe you should come and work here as a tour guide if you know so much about the place.
Elizabeth teased, earning a squeeze on the nose from your mum. She seemed to be enjoying herself, but you thought that might just be because she was amused by everyone else's reactions. You were fascinated by the sensation surrounding you. Bird calls echoed all around you, and once or twice something would rustle in the underbush. You strained your eyes through the trees for any sign of wildlife, and managed to catch a glimpse of a rabbit bounding through the foliage. The adults had decided on some casual nature walks, rather than any serious hiking, and you strolled along at your own pace, taking in the scenery. Hi, Violet 57. Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it, and welcome to the Uncanny Valley. It is a pleasure to meet you. Elizabeth sped up a little, smirking at Cove as she fell into face between the two of you, and immediately you could tell by her expression she was going to say something taunting.
I can't believe her families are actually on vacation together.
She threw her arms out, speaking with a genuine sense of bewilderment.
I would have joked about something like this happening, but now I'm not sure I want to give them any more ideas.
Cove smiled at her, even if it was a little awkwardly, and continued walking along.
Just watch. Next year, they'll be talking about their next new amazing idea.
She put on a fake voice, deeper than her own.
We should just sell both our houses and move in together.
Think of how much we'd save on the mortgage. It was clear that Elizabeth was being sarcastic. Cove simply shook his head, not really bothered by her. You supposed he was used to it by this point.
But seriously, they really do act like we're a single family, just because we live across the street from each other.
Elizabeth gave you and Cove a look, her eyes glinting with mischief as she leered at you. Hi, Cedano. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Waka waka.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we will be related. Legally, anyway.
She said it as though she was a gossipy old lady. Maybe. I guess you and me could get married, Elizabeth.
What?
What? Me?
Yeah, that way Arthur would be my brother-in-law. That would be fun. Elizabeth stuck her tongue out at Cove, as if the very idea was ridiculous. You're embarrassed. Why'd she always have to say things like that? It wasn't fun and she knew it. After no further replies, your sister walked ahead. You and Cove swapped uncomfortable looks. Aye. The day continued on with plenty to see and experience. You passed a few different activities that you would have liked to try out if you had the time, such as kayaking and rock climbing, but Ma said that would have to wait for another trip. There was a little stream during the walk that you sat beside and set out a picnic for lunch, nibbling on a selection of fruit, sandwiches and chips. Various birds flew by overhead, and you made a game out of guessing the species that were hanging out in the trees nearby. You even managed to get a couple of them right, including the kingfisher that grabbed half of Cliff's sandwich. You were glad you got to do this in the end. It was definitely a special experience, and one you'd remember for a long time to come. You smiled to yourself, committing the sights and sounds to memory. Your group made it back to camp just as the sun was setting in the sky, and the stars were appearing one by one. Everyone had enjoyed different parts of it most. You traded stories of what you'd thought up when you were eating dinner, and then afterwards you pitched in to help clean up. You, along with Elizabeth and Cove, got to head back to the RV early and spend some time together while the parents stayed outside longer. It was nice to have the space to yourselves after the cramped journey there, and while Elizabeth had locked herself in the back room with her headphones, you and Cove were left in the main lounge area. Hi hi! You hung out with Cove. Let's take a load off. We've got some time. You took a seat on the sofa while Cove sat down on the other end, tapping his fingers against his knee. You know, I hardly ever see you wearing a jacket, especially in summer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like wearing as few layers as possible. It's easier that way. I'd rather be cold than extra hot, and it's kind of a pain to carry extra clothes around. My parents made me bring this jacket. I don't mind either way. I just dress depending on the weather and how I'm feeling at the time. Cove smiled lightly at you and nodded. I've noticed. You asked him what he'd like to see others wear. So, what type of clothes or accessories do you like to see on someone other than you? Cove's eyes widened at the question, and his defensive reply seemed to slip out before he had a chance to have a proper think about it. Nothing. That was funny. A snort of laughter escaped you, and even though Cove's face flushed red, you could see the hint of a smile on his lips too. Oh, come on, that's not what I meant. You composed yourself and sat up straighter, all traces of laughter disappearing from your face. Answer with what do you mean then? Isn't there anything at all you think looks good when you see it on someone? Cove mumbled under his breath, and you couldn't quite catch the words. He was having a difficult time with the subject. I swear I won't make fun of you. That's not really it. Cove seemed pretty grumpy about your statement, but you weren't ready to give up so easily. Hi, Sleepy Bear. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Please? Cove sighed and looked down at his lap when he was fidgeting with his hands, still reluctant to give an answer.
I don't know.
I don't know. You made an unimpressed sound over how this was going. You sure? Fine. I guess. I kinda like ankle bracelets. Ankle bracelets? Yeah. Everyone can wear a normal bracelet. Wrist ones are cool too, but they're pretty normal. There's something fun or flirty about ankle bracelets.
I mean,
It's more special or something. I don't know how to explain it. Cove brushed his knuckles against his cheek awkwardly, seeming unsure where to go from here. The bottom one! So, it's like, so, you think they're sexy, eh? I think I might kill the ball boy if I say that. Oh, I'm curious. You know what? Fuck it. So you think they're sexy? What? No, I can't believe you'd even use that word to describe it. Cove had only been absolutely scandalized by your statement, and you could only laugh. When he said nothing else, you took a moment to gather your own thoughts. you'd wear your anklets more now. You had a couple of different ones at home. With this new knowledge, you might slip them into your daily outfits in the future. Cove looked away again, feeling awkward about this. But you gave him an understanding look, and soon enough he was smiling like normal again.
Alright.
Well, now you have to answer too. What do you like for another person? Muscles! That is just such a dude bro response. Just this 13-year-old like, oh, what do you like someone wearing?
I like muscles. Big and strong. What? Be a man.
Tiny little dude bros coming for the trophy. Pretty hair. Cove chuckled as though you'd said something highly amusing. Good luck. I hope you find someone. With that topic abruptly dropped off, Cove officially had no more to say on it. The parents all arrived soon after, each of them climbing into the RV and finding some place to sit down and rest their legs. Elizabeth, having heard the commotion, came out from the room for the first time since arriving and joined you all. You spent the evening chatting and playing a few games, enjoying the last evening of the trip together. Bedtime arrived within the blink of an eye. As the group hunkered down for the night, your mum did a final round to be sure nothing had been left behind. She explained that Cliff was going to start driving early in the morning, like on the first day, but would be letting everyone else in the group sleep. There wouldn't be a need for all of them to get up. Now was the time to check you hadn't left anything outside. You, as well as everyone else, were confident you'd all had it packed up inside the RV, which meant it was time to get some rest before the journey home tomorrow. Your mums and Elizabeth said goodnight, heading to the back room, while you climbed up to the loft. Cove and his family got situated below in the previously set arrangement. You tried to get comfortable as a million thoughts were running through your mind. It was hard to believe that the trip was practically over, and before you knew it, you'd be back in your own bed at home. You enjoyed this mini-adventure. It was short, that was for sure. You got to see and do so much during your time here. All in all, it was a nice break away from home. The minutes tickled by silently. It didn't take long for the soft snores of Cliff and 𝐄𝐬 to drift up to you. They were asleep now. You wonder if Cove was still awake and decided to poke your head out from the loft to find out. You blinked through the dark. Looking down the hall, you noticed Cove laying on his back, eyes staring straight up at the ceiling. His seafoam hair was spread out in a sleeping bag. He must have felt you watching him, because suddenly his eyes locked on yours. It was difficult to see much in the dim light, but you could make out the crooked smile on his face well enough. You made a silly face. Cove rolled his eyes at you, or at least thought he did. You then gestured for him to come over. Cove looked unsure about it, but you were happy to see him slowly start to sit up anyway. His sleeping bag rustled as he moved, though he tried to go slow, and froze up like a deer in the headlines every time he made a sound, watching his parents for any sign of movement. Eventually, he managed to maneuver around his sleeping dad and make it to the ladder, standing on the bottom rung where he looked up to you and whispered. He opened his mouth to speak before it shut closed for another second. Is that my shirt? You mean my shirt? You gave it to me and I'm using it. Huh. That's cool. Then Cove shook his head to refocus. Why did you call me? You invited him up to the loft. Do you want to come up? His eyes widened just so. You could only tell because he had come to where you were. Cove glanced behind him quickly at his sleeping parents before turning back to you. Okay. You broke out into a grin and scooched back as far as you could, making space for Cove to crawl in. He was very tall, so it wasn't a great fit for him, but he managed to squeeze himself in. Luckily, you were short enough to leave him with some room. You laid down next to each other on your sides, face to face. He got under the blanket a bit. One of his arms were nestled under his head for comfort, and the other had nowhere to go and rested alongside his chest on the floor of the loft. Cove spoke to you softly. So, what am I doing here? You can sleep here instead of the floor. Cove raised an eyebrow, not having expected you to bring that up now. It isn't a big deal for us to both be in the loft, right? Yeah, it's not some huge thing. We've shared a million times by now, and usually they're the ones encouraging us. Cove gestured in the direction of the parents, and you nodded in agreement. They'd always tried to put you and Cove together, ever since you were little. I wonder how much trouble we'll be in if we get caught. Oh, it wouldn't be nearly as much as we would have been if my mum's found out you snuck into my room for the night at the start of summer. He winced just imagining it. Oh, I still can't believe I did that, and didn't get caught. It was a very dramatic morning. You could easily picture his frantic escape in your mind's eye. You're kind of a troublemaker, aren't you, Cove? No, I don't think so. Cove trailed off, and he seemed to be lost in his own thoughts. Well, maybe sometimes. Cove smiled fondly at you, and you grinned triumphantly. You spent the rest of the night smooshed up in the little loft together, whispering about your past memories and trying not to giggle too loud at the silly thoughts that you'd gotten up to together over the years. Eventually, the chatting trailed off, and when you noticed Cove had drifted off to sleep, you followed soon after. And when you woke up the next morning, it was to the rumble of the RV as it travelled the long journey home. You noticed quickly that you weren't as warm as you had been during the night, and when you checked next to you, Cove was gone. Blinking sleepily, you peeked over the edge of the loft to find out where he'd gone. Maybe he'd snuck back to his spot on the floor during the night? However, you soon noticed him sitting on the couch talking quietly with his mum, his head hung in embarrassment. Your movement gave you away, and 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 suddenly looked up and caught your eye. She simply smiled amusedly at you, and it was obvious what had happened. Cove hadn't gotten away with it. They found him there in the loft, and then you woke up while he was trying to explain. You knew it was going to be a long time before you lived this one down, if you ever did. Soon your mums and Elizabeth emerged from their rooms, dressed and ready for the day of travel. No. Sup, bitch? How you doing? Hi, Kaneko. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome. It's like, the fuck you mean, no? Wow, that sounds incredibly unhygienic, Kaneko, honestly. Hugs and kisses. What can I say? If a little shit gets near my butt, naturally. I'm not going to continue the thought. I'm going to let you guys stew on the potentials. Soon your mum and Elizabeth emerged from their room, dressed and ready for the day of travel. You spent most of the day hanging out together in the RV, savoring the last few hours of vacation. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 suggested a few different travel games she used to play with Cove when he was younger, and you all had a great time competing against each other. A little later in the day, you tried to talk to Cove about what happened in the loft, but he simply apologized and changed the subject. It was a bit too much for him to try speaking on, especially right now. You understood. When the RV finally pulled onto your street, it was well into the night, and you were looking forward to crawling into your own bed after the last few days away. Everyone else must have been feeling the same, because it was mutually agreed that unpacking and cleaning the RV would wait until morning. Once home again, you went straight up to your room and dropped into your bed, shoes and all. It felt weird to be alone. You'd gotten so used to having all the others around you all the time, as well as the rumble of the RV, and it felt oddly quiet being by yourself. With those last few thoughts drifting through your mind, it wasn't long before you dozed off to sleep. Tomorrow, life would go on like normal. And save. Alright. I suppose this is probably a good place to end it, as much as I don't want to, just because it's 12 AM and I have to go to work tomorrow. Like, okay, like, I don't actually hate going to work that much, but like, I have to get up at 7:30 to go to work tomorrow. What can I say, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫? You've just got too much Rizz. I was defeated. Thank you for the hydrate, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮. But yeah, I'm not sure when exactly my next stream will be, because like right now I am 100% in YOLO mode. Okay, I do like Chuckies. Nah. Yeah, no, I gotta start getting ready for bed. Ew, nasty. Yeah, so I don't know when exactly my next stream will be. Like when I go live, it's always between the same 8 to 8:30 time period in Aussie time. But I can say for dead certain, I think it's safe to say I'm probably gonna be playing this next stream, and probably the stream after, and I want to finish a game, man. I fucking never finished it. The amount of dating games that I have, to be completely blunt, blue balls myself for, because I've played it for like one stream and then been like, I'll definitely play it again one day, and then I don't, and like that means like I'll never get the girl, I'll never get the man, I get the fingers touch, and then I forget to open again. I haven't finished the Date with Death DLC yet, but the reason is I'm mad at it right now. 𝐶𝐈𝐵 killed my fucking computer. Little bitch can wait. Oh, I'll come back to him, but he can stew a bit. Fucker can stew. He needs to sit there and think about what he's done. Oh yeah, Cove is adorable. Cove is so adorable. Just pinches little shit. I'm like low-key kind of terrified when we get of getting to the third portion when he's an adult, because like right now it's like, oh look at the kids, they're so blushy, ooh boo boo. But when he's an adult, it's like, oh shit, you a man now. Thou shalt not Rizz me. I'm irresistible. I've said that joke way too many times tonight. You can tell I'm getting tired. Yeah, well, in my defense, 𝐶𝐈𝐵's fun to bully. No, I haven't played Homicypher. What's that about, actually? I'm kind of curious. Because, like, basically, like, I'm 100% on my dating gay kick. Get tsundere at adult Cove. It's not that I like you or anything, but no, let's be honest. You know how I'll get with adult Cove? The same way I get with 𝐶𝐈𝐵. I'll probably end up turning Cove into a tsundere. You'll do sparkle. You know what, 𝐶𝐿? I'll take it. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Ooh. Someone feel free to put that into suggestions in my Discord, because I have the 5-second goldfish memory when it comes to game recs. If it's in there, I usually check it. I have a habit for turning people into tsunderes. Yeah, y'all are tsunderes. Baka. Oh my god. Yeah. So it's like the next time I'll stream will probably be early to mid next week. However, on Saturday, so in a couple of days time, so on Saturday, same start time, so around like 8:30 p.m. in Discord, so feel free to join us in Discord. We are going to be doing the Untamed Watchathon starting from episode 5. Basically, if you like Model C, Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, the Untamed, gays who do magics, which is the worst way to describe it ever, feel free to come and join along, honestly. We're all just gonna be like really lame, probably for like a stupid length of time, because every time we do a movie night or a watchathon, it goes on a stupid length of time. So yeah, feel free to join. And that'll be in the Discord on Saturday, because if I did it on literally any other night, I would die. Oh yeah, Nix. Oh, they're good novels. They're good novels. But yeah, so that's the upcoming plan. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. While we committed Wondrous Rizz. But yeah, next stream we're definitely going to do a few more of these before we move on, because I like doing at least 5 before I move on. And we may even brave the turbulent waters of adult Cove, because I'm both really looking forward to what my Cove turns into, because I'm letting the game lead that, but also I have fear for what my bullshit would turn this poor man into. Now you're fine, 𝐿𝐿𝐿. If it makes you feel any better, I'm gonna go in the shower, gonna get moist, gonna clean the grippers, gonna get out the shower, gonna pop into bed, then I'm probably, let's be completely honest, gonna stay awake for an additional hour or two, laying in really weird positions in my bed, writing my story. Oh, yes, of course. You know what, 𝐿𝐿𝐿? Just for you, darling, I'll be sure to clean all of the crevices. I'm sorry, that's so cursed. I'm sorry. This would be one of those moments where if like a mass unfollow hit, I would not be surprised and I would not blame a single one of you. Brother. Yeah, you gotta save up to Exodus, me motherfuckers. Alright, I'll pop over to end stream. Otherwise I'll just be here tormenting you forever. Which sounds like fun, but also I know that I'll totally die. Yes, dun 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 dun. You're stuck here forever. And you can blame my friends on the other side. Alright, now let's find a wonderful target. It might be Blue Sky, not B Sky. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I set up something. I could be wrong. Right, let's see. It's always fun going through potential targets. Oh. Let's go with this one. Let's go with a familiar face. Why not, eh? Glowing outside. Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I've had a wonderful time hanging out with each and every single one of you. Let me set up this raid. We will be raiding a dear and wonderful denizen of our own, Miss Katie. For the raid message, I am begging you guys to either feel free to use the standard one or please, I'm begging you, look up the worst pickup line you can. The worst pickup line. The shittiest pickup line you can find. I'm talking TikTok Rizz levels. And use that as the raid. Because Katie will hate it. And it will be so funny. to give us all some time. All right. TikTok Rizz pickup line. All right. Smooth Rizz line. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, I found some easy Rizz. Okay. Alright. Thank you guys so much for joining my stream. Get your Rizz ready so that we can hail them in torment. And I will see you guys either on Saturday for BL goodness and general chaos,